Anti-derivative Jill.
There she is. There she is.
Can I offer you some tea?
Good tea. Nice house.
Would you make me some of that Plomeek soup?
Welcome to Jill's.
Greetings and felicitations.
Hey, hello and welcome. I am Anti-Derivative Jill, and this is Plomeek Teatime number 69. Which
Dude, what number am I thinking of?
69, dude. It actually goes along sort of with the movie we're going to cover today, except for the fact that the sexual nature of this movie is not quite as fun as the 69.
Don't go there this early.
The pregnant man, every man's nightmare.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. That
unwanted facial love huggers.
Not only is today the 69th podcast, but also today is April the 26th, or 426 as you will, which might remind you of the moon LV-426, which is where the crew of the Nostromos from the Alien find themselves.
Wow.
So we're finally going to talk about Alien.
Incredibly deep dive, Jill. Kudos.
All the kudos goes to...
I've got goosebumps. That's
R37.
so cool.
All right.
Hey, it's your show, so thank you for putting up the lemonade stand. But this is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. I love
lemonade.
I have a few passions of science fiction in my early days. The ones that really impacted me are many, but for the purposes of this conversation, certainly the work of Weyland-Yutani and the Alien franchise. And I'm surprised we did Alien 3 before we did Alien proper. But I adore this film through and through. So thank you for making a show.
You're welcome. Well,
yes.
Well, the thing is, I think I saw it young too, but you were too young to have seen it in theaters. You were just a baby, and I was not born yet. So I was wondering, did Tiger Stripes, did you see this when it came out?
Oh, I saw it, I think, at the Avco in Westwood, and I was traumatized for months by this film. It really racked me up. It was sort of a guilty thing of mine where I didn't like to admit it, and then many years later I saw a talk show, and I think it was the actress Stephanie Zimbalist, and somebody said, do you have any fears? They clearly were setting up a conversational point, and she said, I was completely unzipped by the movie Alien. I'm like, yes, thank you, not just me.
Yeah, from what I hear, when people went to go see this for the first time, there was vomiting and people were leaving the theater, and it was very disturbing to a lot of people.
Oh, I was in what was maybe a first night audience, so no, we were hip to hip, and the whole place was packed, and nobody left, and nobody vomited. I was probably hollering a bit. And I know that it was so crowded that I went with a big group of friends. We could not sit together because it was so crowded. So I had one friend beside me, and when the movie was done, he sort of turned on me very quickly and held up his hands and went, boo. And I flew into him. I just lit into him. I did not close my hands, so I didn't punch him, but I was slapping away. I was just so messed up.
Well, disagreements can do that.
Well, it wasn't really a disagreement. It was just instinctual. I was
reflex.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this movie is fantastic. It took a while for people to recognize its brilliance, but it definitely happened. Eugene Bird says, horny for Sigourney, trending today for some reason. But Scotty R37 says, wet for bread is my go-to.
Right.
I do dote on Harry Dean.
He's amazing.
He's good in everything. But everybody in this is good. It's synergistic, this movie. It's greater than the sum of its parts, and that's saying something.
I would have watched an entire trilogy of just Brett and Parker.
Yaphet Kotto. So beautiful.
I know. Absolutely. Yeah. Not a good Bond villain, but he is still very charismatic.
And I have to thank Eugene Bird for this super sticker.
Ooh.
It's a super sticker of a lemon and a lime giving each other a hug.
Yay!
A good kind of hug, not a
not a face hug.
Not a face hug.
I can't wait until we talk about that.
PvP is here, and he says, "I'm so happy Jill is doing Alien. My chest is bursting with joy."
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime girl.
Oh, okay. Spaceballs reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got hurt to show up for that one.
Gavin Blackburn says, I first watched this film in 1984 when I was 10. Safe to say, it scared the crap out of me back then. We watched it many times
You
since.
were too young, Gavin.
My kid is 10. I wish I could take him to the theater.
Close to being too young. Double digits at least for this one.
Well, but this is one of those benchmark movies. I'm with you, Gavin, because I keep asking, like, my niece is 4 or 5 years old.
10 is too young.
And I've been saying, when can I show my niece Alien? And my sister keeps saying, like, about a decade? And I'm like, no, we got to scare this child soon.
I'm all for scaring children, but I don't want to
That's the odd
them.
thing, is that my 3-year-old crawled into bed with me when I was watching, like, this was a couple years ago, when I was watching the end of the movie. And she watched the last 20 minutes with me, and she wasn't scared at all of this movie.
Well,
there you go.
She didn't have the setup, and that's
the
beautiful thing about Alien is that it's just like a piece of music. The build and the way it's it's classically script written. They get out onto the planet 20 minutes in. Chest burster happens at 1 hour in, more or less. First alien death again, 1 in 20. Classic.
Yeah. The timing and pacing of it is very important, but that's the reason, like, that's kind of why I want to show a young child this movie, is simply so that I can, in today's day and age
find a different movie.
Well, no, but I'm trying. Okay, and that's probably the right answer. That is probably good advice. But what I'm saying is,
the child needs to be able to consent.
But if
you're right, but kids are trying to scare themselves online anyway, and they're watching really weird stuff, and I'm like, why don't you watch something good that's scary?
And also, it's a matter of sort of disassociating that short attention span, because as you mentioned, like the tension and the buildup and the anticipation of this movie that you've heard is scary. I think that, okay, sit and watch this, and if you get bored, walk away. But if you're actually engaged, then please, this is the power of film, and I would like someone, maybe like 7.
I want
7.
Children to have a childhood. I don't think I can argue this with you anymore. I think they need to be a young adult before they see this film. That's just
okay. You're right. Yeah. Then that's okay.
What about
post-adolescence? Let's say
you won't have to pay for therapy. That'll be great.
Well, Alien is a 1979 science fiction horror film directed by Ridley Scott, written by Dan O'Bannon.
Yay!
And based on a story by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett.
Shusett?
Shusett?
I would say.
Shusett. Okay, there you go.
Who credits Dan O'Bannon with all the character development. He said he's an idea guy, but not a character guy. And so the characters are all very much Dan O'Bannon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
very much drawn from his characters in Dark Star.
So one of the terrible things about this is that I bought this amazing book.
You bought an amazing book, you say?
An amazing book, you say?
There's like 1 million pages. And by 1 million, I mean 300. And it has every single detail of the writing and everything. So I'm glad I have you guys here to parse it.
When did you get this book, you say?
Yesterday.
So you
Well,
haven't read
yeah.
it?
No.
Well, it's 300
Oh.
pages.
So I'll be an expert on this movie long after this live stream is over.
Oh, I learned things today that I had never known before. Just
Delicious.
doing a little research.
Tetrarch of Apathy says I was too young to see it originally and remembered being fascinated by the enormous alien action figure. As tall as a toddler in stores everywhere as Christmas approached. Oh my
That
gosh,
was the one with the
really?
removable headpiece. Then you could see the skull underneath, as I recall. Really terrifying.
Wow.
Yes, action Jaws. Yes,
Oh.
for children, ridiculous.
For kids, right?
Yeah,
kids.
ridiculous.
You know, they definitely.
So
I
you may
can't
have a
even.
point,
This
Scotty.
movie makes me think of sentences I shouldn't say. Wes Cagle says, I'm with Scotty. Alien came out in 79, and Wes Cagle was 10, and he watched it when it came out. There's no reason for kids to not be able to watch it.
Well, your mileage may vary. I am.
Right, and
I
classic
will.
And
Yeah, I
I'm
will
the
lean.
girl. My beau at the time rode a motorcycle, and I rode behind him a good bit. And we had gotten home late after, and I was so traumatized by this film. I would have to have him go into the house, turn on all the lights, and then I would go in. And then, you know, if it was time to hit the sack, I would go get into bed, and he would turn out all the lights one by one. And he came around the corner one day with his big black motorcycle helmet on. So that, you know, and I was like standing in a room and saw this dome, this black dome kind of coming in. And again, I just sort of went at him. I just, you know, I think I might have even closed my hand. You know, I was traumatized by this movie.
Well, it's interesting that you are startled by similarities visually. I had something similar happen to myself because I lived in Australia for a while. And when I was leaving Australia, I drove up the West Coast. And so me and my traveling partner, we would stop in at like rest stops and they had showers and whatnot. My biggest fear every time I got into one of those public showers, in fact, any public shower, has always been if I were to look up and see a face hugger. I find face huggers to be the most terrifying things.
And this was
possible.
Australia?
Yeah, well, because they
I
have the
understand
big
they
spiders,
have
right?
spiders in Australia the size of dinner plates.
The size of face huggers.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
insane. So I did have a very great phobia when I was sure
Yeah.
that I was going to find a face
Sure.
hugger in Australia.
In Australia, they have the myth of the drop bear, which
Yes.
will come up from above too.
I wonder what
I-
it does to your face.
When I rewatched this today, it kind of struck me as wrong because I'm positive. When I saw this film in theater, all there was just the opening title. There were no credits superimposed. And the opening title was very eerie, you know, popping up the way it does, with just the lines until it, you know, forms itself into the word. So these it's better without these superimposed credits. Much better, infinitely better. But
well, and according to the audio commentary, their initial idea was to make it bits of bone and flesh, to make it sort of that biomechanical appearance of the title as it presented. Yeah.
But that
and then
you said
the surprise.
The magic word. I love the fact that Giger worked on this. The visuals are amazing and unique.
Yes.
And I can't wait to talk more about that. And of course, directed by Ridley Scott, so it's a great combination.
Yeah.
He's got a career ahead of him, I tell you. But they did end up they ended up doing it this way with the block lettering, and Ridley Scott did mention, and he said he liked it because it was more of a hieroglyphic revelation of the title. And as of the recording of that audio commentary, he was like, this is my favorite of all of the opening titles I have ever done. And it's also a direct result of him coming from the world of advertising. And so when he did put it together, it was on purpose.
Neat.
Yeah, and I love this title card that tells us the name of the ship, how many people are on it, And what they're doing, all they're doing is refining some more. And like Ridley Scott says, that he means for them to seem like just truckers in space.
Mm-hmm.
And Franco Walker says, please subscribe, hit the bell, share, hit the like, and select live chat. And he's finally off his phone. His ear hurts.
Phone head. That's what we call it when your ear hurts after you've been on the phone too long. Phone head.
And so, of course, this movie, it won a bunch of awards. Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, Saturn Awards. Oh, lots of Saturn Awards. Wow. Science fiction film, Best Science Fiction Film, Best Direction, Best Supporting Actress.
Supporting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Veronica Cartwright won?
Yes.
Nice. She is amazing.
Yes, she's the person I was really kind of focused on when I was doing my research today, and something I had never known before. She went into she went into it thinking she had the role of Ripley. Yeah, and she didn't find out until she was in costume. And she said she called her agent. She said, "I'm Ripley, right?" And the agent's like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's not what they're telling me." So that she was, and I saw a little interview of her talking about it. I really searched for it because I wanted to confirm it. And she just kind of laughed it off. What a pro. I imagine that most people would sort of be stung with disappointment if you think you have what's essentially the lead in a film and then you find out you don't, even though this is such an ensemble piece that everybody really has a lead.
Yeah, everybody, you don't know how important, everybody seems equally important at the start of this movie, so you don't know who is good. You can't tell who the hero is going to be. And Cartwright did have previous experience in horror. She was in other horror movies, like The Birds.
Oh, she as a child. She was a child actress. She started out really young.
And Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when
she didn't. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, when she was in The Witches of Eastwick, she does a horrendous vomit scene where she just throws up cherry pits, and it gushes out of her face. And because of her, I could not eat cherries for many years.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, that's traumatic.
But you're okay with them now.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I watch Witches of Eastwick and eat cherries just to laugh at myself.
Oh, and the other soundbite I found from her was that she said that she had to sit in a chair while they were cutting her hair off, and Scott was sort of directing this, and she said she used the word traumatic, and I thought that's hilarious. But of all the things that are traumatic in this film, her having to have her hair cut off is the worst. It's
I love this technology.
If you enjoy your long hair.
Yeah, I did. I was kind of just looking online on YouTube, and I found a piece that I don't think is in the film where her hair is short, but it's still sort of cut in a shag. It's, kind of naturally waving. And I'm like, okay, it's pretty clear they went back in and threw that footage out and cut her hair even shorter. So, yeah.
Well, and to differentiate the characters of Ripley and...
Sure.
Yeah.
I think
what's Veronica Cartwright's character?
I think there's some other reason.
Yes,
Scott,
Lambert.
I don't trust Ridley Scott. He's the kind of person that will traumatize a person to get a good performance out of them, rather than just relying on their prowess as an actor.
Well,
but that's
not only
the point.
Not only that, I think that one of the benefits of this film is the set, like the spaceship itself. It's absolutely fantastic, and they were from what I understand, they were well into production in terms of making the set and making it look believable, used, lived in, to accommodate truckers in space. And so when people came in, at least Sigourney Weaver was in the Nostromo when she did her audition. And so while, there are certain ways, I think that there are stories about when the ship lands and there's a guy shaking the seats to make the turbulence. and the actors were kind of rolling their eyes at it, as again, according to the director. But it does it the believability of the set itself makes the performances pop.
Well, and it shows how good both of the actors were, the actresses in this movie, is because Veronica Cartwright wanted Ripley because she didn't feel like she was anything like her character. She didn't like the weaknesses of the emotions that she had to express as Lambert. And she was only convinced to do it because she was told it was a reflection of what the audience was feeling. And so she's the audience. And Ripley, on the other hand, said, I felt more like Lambert. I feel like in that situation, I would be more like Lambert in real life.
Yeah, I saw a quote that Sigourney still hasn't seen the film all the way through because she's too scared.
Huh.
Which is pretty wussy. Come on, Sigourney, get with it.
That is. And that's how great of an actress she is, because in the movie, she doesn't seem like a wuss at all.
Yeah. I was really appreciating during this opening, crawl through this ship, the soundtrack by Jerry Goldsmith, which is almost, it's not completely ambient, but there's a lot of ambience in it, a lot of machine noise, a lot of instruments that are altered. But there's a point right before that door opens and you see the flower pod open, where there's almost a little organ flourish, like homage to classic monster films. It's the only time I caught it in Alien, but there's just this da-da-da for just half a second.
It is beautiful, the score, and it does accentuate.
It's again, that's kind of ambient score that really gets under your skin, that cranks up the anxiety.
Well, it's best to start a nightmare with a lullaby. But there he is.
John Hurt, spectacular actor.
Yes.
True.
I didn't know who he was at the time because I had seen I, Claudius. So
I think this is... Sorry?
I was aware of a lot of these actors sort of peripherally. It's true that none of them were really at the top of everybody's range, because they were so good. They're the kind of actors that disappear into a role. So you don't look at them. You think, oh, it's that guy who played Caligula. At the time, you didn't think, oh, that's John Hurt. But this, I think, gave him name recognition, this role.
Hey, Pop Culture Curator is in the chat.
Hello.
And Franco Walker does agree in terms of Caligula. I thought Malcolm McDowell was Caligula.
I'm talking about I, Claudius, the miniseries on PBS.
Oh, my mistake.
I guess it was probably BBC originally. It's really worth watching. Everybody's
This is hey, Wes Cagle. It's nice to see you. But yeah.
Hello in the chat to Pop Culture Curator, and Hurt almost wasn't in the movie because he had a different film he was going to do, but luckily that fell through.
Oh, the thing I heard was they had cast a guy who looked a lot like him. The guy was, This is what Veronica Cartwright said, the guy was recovering from pneumonia, and she said Ridley really loved smoke, and at the time the standard for smoke on set was beeswax, burning beeswax, and the guy kind of came onto set and immediately had a relapse of his pneumonia, and then the next day there was John Hurt, just like he'd always been there.
The actor who originally played him, I don't know if you've seen Roman Polanski's Macbeth, but the guy who played Macbeth, if you want to look it up on the IMDb's, then that's the gentleman who was who fell ill.
Well, that's some chops.
Is it John Finch?
It sounds right.
Because it says he was also diagnosed with diabetes.
That's what it said in the audio commentary.
Bronchitis. Yeah. And if he also had pneumonia, oh my God, this guy was super sick.
Well, he probably died of COVID. Sorry,
sick.
We have to edit that
take
out.
The smoke.
But like John Hurt, most of these actors, I didn't know at all, except for Yaphet Kotto, because I think I saw Live and Let Die before I saw Alien, which that's good parenting. But so I knew who Yaphet Kotto was. I didn't know who anybody else was. But John Hurt, when I encountered him for the first time, was this film. And then I watched 1984 for my English class, and I loved him in that. And then he becomes the evil chancellor in V for Vendetta. He's got a storied career. He's amazing. John Hurt is a legend.
Yeah, he got to be a doctor. That's saying something too.
Well, and Gavin Blackburn, I'm not saying that, like, I didn't live through this movie. I think I was 1 year old when this came out. Live and Let Die. Yeah, no, I was -4. So I understand that I didn't see these chronologically, but as Tom Savini said, it's not old if you've never seen it.
It's new to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this big, beautiful geodesic dome computer room is nice too. Mother.
Yes, I do think. Were they going for kind of a dark 2001 kind of thing? I don't know. I forget what was said about that.
I really...
Again, I'm going to refer to Dark Star, which is Dan O'Bannon's first film. He actually acted in that as well as wrote it.
This is I haven't seen it, but I know it's a comedy horror.
Yes,
in space with
fiction. Science fiction.
Yeah, it's a comedy horror science fiction with.
But this feels like that
with
the
dome with the beach ball that's painted, and it to be a monster. Beach ball
alien.
Pop culture curator in the chat says, I saw this at the theater while on acid. He goes on to say, when I was 10.
Well, that explains so much.
No, I wasn't 10.
I'm just trying to support my scaring children thing, that's all.
No.
But I
don't think his parents would have allowed that.
But the acid's fine. You can do acid all you want. Just don't go to the chat.
Franco says he knew who Ian Holm was, and I have to say I didn't know who Ian Holm was at the time. I don't think. I think this was the first time I had seen Ian Holm.
I think the next time I saw Ian Holm, it was probably in The Fifth Element, and I was like, "Oh, it's that guy from Alien." He was
Napoleon in Time Bandits. So
true. Well, but I don't think I've seen Time Bandits all the way through.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry.
I love Time Bandits.
I've heard it's
Ian
very
Holm,
good.
Interestingly, he did a very late in life interview where and it was a big long interview, very detailed, where the interviewer asked him about his reputation as a ladies' man. And I'm like, what? So that's an interesting detail about Ian Holm.
Oh,
the new Bond.
Ian Holm. Let's see what I have on that.
What have you seen? Alien?
That's the science officer.
Yes,
the
science officer.
He hates
milk.
milk.
I mean, I don't really pay attention to the name of actors. We're
spoiling, of course. Who's not a human being.
Spoiling the movie that everybody knows.
Yes,
that's okay.
Welcome.
I think so too.
Sorry, not really. No, but I love Ash as a character in terms of the person that you want to hate. He's a toaster. Turn him off.
Well, the first time you see the film, you don't pick up on all the details that are happening, and then when you
don't pick up on just how much he's drinking milk.
Yes, which is clearly not milk. When you go back and you watch it again, okay, I thought that was milk. That ain't milk. It's some sort of lubricating fluid. Probably.
Yeah, it's his oil.
And then there's a point in the film where he does a very quick jog in place, like he's sort of rewinding himself.
It was weird. I never knew what that was about.
I loved that too. That's
well, and it is like you're spot on. Not to echo your thoughts, but in terms of him playing an android or a robot, according to Parker, I know Bishop prefers synthetic
Parker
human.
says both. I went and checked that.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to
Yes.
check out and see if there was any prejudice, but good work.
Yeah. Now he says
But
he's
yeah,
an
he
android.
does
He's
that.
an android, and then while he's fighting, and then when he's done fighting, he makes the statement that's in my little byline there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he
Goddamn
uses
robot.
both words, which is odd.
Yes, but he does. That
Ash
was
is
a
coming. Oh, that
Sorry.
reminds me.
please. Uh-oh. It reminded her that she had to go to the store and buy milk.
Lots and lots of milk.
No, but it was a way for Ash to stretch because androids were stiff. And in the audio commentary, Ridley Scott, and this was recorded in like the 2000s for the quadrilogy set, and he says, "Yeah, no, Ash is a replicant." You know, there you go.
Well, that's confusing because I thought replicants were organic.
Well, take a look at the inside of Ash and tell me if that's organic or not.
It does look vaguely organic, but
It's a robot. Ash is a goddamn robot.
it's still
Yes.
very artificial, not
Yes.
really grown like a person.
It was the little balls. It was the little balls in the circuitry or the circulatory system that I thought that's what made it very weird.
Now, what are you talking about? You're talking about the little bulbous balls that look like seaweed on the end of the tubes? Because Veronica Cartwright mentioned something that she said was driving Ridley Scott nuts, which was that apparently they used draggies, those little silver cake balls, and they had them sprinkled all over, and he hated it so much that he forced poor Ian Holm to come back and reshoot his last monologue all alone. Yeah. But it's funny because I certainly never noticed any little silver balls in that particular scene. But now I'll have to go back and look for them now.
Hey,
Well,
I want to say hello to Sentai Ranger Donnie.
Hey,
And I also
you're
wanted
phenomenal.
to say that when they were writing the script, O'Bannon says that he says, "I didn't steal Alien from anybody. I stole it from everybody." I guess
That's true.
there was a lot. There were a lot of influences for
a lot of literary
movie.
influences, many. Yes.
But I also think it was interesting that Pop Culture Curator on his channel wanted to review the Texas Chainsaw Massacre because it turns out that's one of the big influences for this movie too, in terms of the way the
I
horror
heard
is
that for the
paced.
first time today. I heard Veronica Cartwright say that all the actors went in to see Ridley when they were all together on the, in London for the first time, and he just said, "I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and it's going to be basically the Texas Chainsaw Massacre." And then he ran out of the room because he had like a call and he had to go somewhere else. And she said they all just stood there and stared at each other with their mouths hanging open. So
Yeah, so it's a little bit of the
I had
thing,
never heard that reference before.
a little bit of Forbidden Planet. It's a little bit of Planet of the Vampires, which I want to see. I've heard about that movie twice now. Now I want to see that.
I'm good with Twilight.
I am
some
good
body
with anything
snatchers
but
there.
that.
Well, no, but there's a vampire planet, and it's called Twilight. And the werewolves want to take it over.
That
I'm going to help Jill move on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that this doesn't become a discussion about that.
no,
Well, no,
I just
I'm
So
really
should
enjoying
we go on to
hate-
the next photo?
I know the
maybe?
problem is I just
Yeah.
really hate Twilight, and both of you
Yeah.
really love it. But you will help
do
me
really
stay on
love
track. Thank you.
But
I'm
again,
just-
I don't want to derail this.
I'm incredibly
Okay, but
happy to see
anyway,
Tom
anyway.
Skerritt
We
get to
will
his
bend
office.
her to our will someday, Scott.
Someday.
not
Never,
today.
never. Okay, so the crew had breakfast together. They're arguing about their pay, or at least the more blue collar workers are arguing about their pay.
The engineers, the hands-on
Yeah,
guys.
the engineers. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they want more money, but they don't get as much. So there is still, even though everybody's equal with race and gender, they're not all on the same pay scale.
That's the company for you.
hmm And so Dallas goes to talk to Mother. He's talking to him right here in this picture, but we don't get to know what
Mother's a her.
Yeah, she's the ship.
She's a mother.
It's the ship is a
She turns out to
female.
be quite a mother.
And of course, and then there's a bit of foreshadowing while they're having breakfast where Kane says, "I feel dead."
Yes, I was gonna. Yeah, I'm glad that you pointed that out. Yeah, that's his first line in the film, I think. I feel dead. To which Parker, of course, cheerfully replies, "You look dead." Yes, and he doesn't even know. No, that comes later.
Well, and then some people say that the sleep tubes, the kind of look like
The flower
coffins
pod.
or eggs. So it could be thought of as death or birth. And yeah, so mothers interrupted their journey. Oh, I have some.
That line. That's so mean and funny. The way they goof on each other.
Oh, right. They're still upset about
Brett
their
and Parker.
Yeah, but they're clearly friends, and there's not a lot of friendship.
Oh yeah, no, they're shooting the shit at that point. Yeah, they're on their own just together and just sort of riffing on each other.
I don't notice a lot of friendship in this movie, but they were definitely friends.
Well, the two of them definitely, have friendship. They have to work in tandem, so they have to like each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's true. Everybody's really clamped down. Everybody's really busy working. That's one of the things I love about this movie is that everybody's working together as a team.
It's true. They do. They definitely do. That's...
Mother's interrupted the course of our journey. Seems she has intercepted a transmission of unknown origin.
And so Mother says, "You got to get up and check this out." So, or else, you're not going to get your money. All that ore you just ored, or that that you just collected will mean nothing if you don't do this.
Yeah, the clause. Ash spells out the clause for them. You either investigate signs of life or you get paid nothing. And he doesn't extend it to the whole crew. He doesn't say we all get paid nothing. But he does, but I think that's a likely surmisal. That's the kind of clause that probably would zap everybody. And there's a deleted scene that I just saw today where Lambert actually plays the beacon for them to listen to, what she hears. And it's super creepy.
And that's probably why they took it out, because then you would realize there's something wrong with it. And so you're supposed to, this movie is really good at giving you a false sense of, oh, this is fine, everything's okay. we're just checking this out. But if they played that super creepy message, okay, so that's, I have never seen the deleted scenes, so I'm glad you guys saw them for me.
It was a new one for me today. I haven't really seen them either, so it was educational.
And so we don't know.
There was kind of a voice in it, but it was almost an animal cry, and it was kind of booming. Mm-hmm. So it was, and very scrambled and metallic.
And I guess this movie, that's what I was thinking too. It seems like all of the horror movies that I like, have a similar thread, that they're, one, have a science fiction element in, two, or kind of more of a psychological. I have a psychological bent to it.
Well, and again, it is the anticipation and the build-up through this movie that really gets you. As you said, Tiger, in terms of, they don't even get to the planet, or the chest burster doesn't happen until the first hour.
Yeah. But I have to say, while this film does have, somebody referred to it once as sort of Victorian sex horror. And I'm like, that's kind of correct. For me, psychological means when something's all happening in someone's mind. I cannot bear that kind of film. This is, for me, a real film that's happening to real people. It's a science fiction movie. I know it has horror elements, but the science in it is really good too.
Well, definitely, yes, especially in terms of the biology. Gavin Blackburn. Yes? Gavin Blackburn, hey, thank you, Gavin Blackburn, has sent a £2
bonus shares.
That's the bonus shares. So you guys, Parker can stop complaining now. We got our bonus.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, Gavin. Oh, and we're not up to that part yet, but this part, it reminded me of Scotty. It's not all here. It's just part of it.
What? It's 17 hours, fella.
And then he's like, tell her 25 hours. And then, oh no, that's what he actually says. He says 25 hours. It's going to take 25 hours.
How do you expect me to live up my reputation as being a miracle worker?
Yeah, you always overestimate.
You didn't tell him how long it would really take.
Yeah, he schools Geordie, and Geordie does not listen.
Yeah, Geordie's
And
lost.
That's Geordie's loss. He doesn't learn a damn thing until he has to at the end, and he's like, oh man, okay, maybe I better listen to Scott now.
Yeah, we could get into, and like this, I do really appreciate again, being the guy that I am. And it just occurred to me that maybe I do enjoy this movie because everyone is doing their jobs. And that causes tension. Like, this isn't a Star Trek, get along, gang. This is we all have our jobs to do. That's why Ripley was like, no, you're not breaking quarantine. And then that putz decides to do it because crew expendable. Am I right?
Yeah, the crew is expendable. And, well, this is like Star Trek, except M5 did get to take over.
Well, and it's interesting. Sorry.
Dallas makes a point, and again, this might have been a deleted scene because it was new to me, where he says that one day they had a different science officer, and the next day Ash was there. That's original cut. And Ripley says, "Isn't that weird?" And he's like, "No, this is just the job. That's just the company."
Yeah.
So Ash is in place to protect the organism.
So Dallas is the captain.
Yeah, Dallas is the captain, but Dallas listens to Mother, and Ash.
Everyone's got a bottom.
Gets to have secret, and Ash gets to have secret dealings with Mother, and can override the captain. So who's really the captain?
Well,
that's the company.
Well, hey, one person's company is a different person's federation.
Yeah. And I think it's not so much an indictment on capitalism, but on corporatism, where the government gives a company control both in money and power over others.
Well, companies have often done that. That's one of the things about working for a company. And it wasn't that long ago where if you did work for a company, you lived in a company town and you ate company food, and everything that you did was deducted from your salary. So it was very hard to get out from under that.
Brought to you by your good friends at Vault-Tec.
Yes, and it's interesting at some point that Dallas actually buys the crew a meal, and he actually says it, this is on me. So that means that each of them probably is having their food and board deducted from their salary, deducted from their earnings. So yeah, it's very corporate.
Well, and it carries through even into Alien 3, with Fury being like, they have Weyland-Yutani stamped on everything, and best exemplified by Burke. In terms of the atmosphere processor on LV-426, eventually. And it's like, we build those, Like, he's very proud of the work of the company. Oh, I hate it. I love it.
Oh, Wes Cagle says the artwork on Alien is fantastic. However, H.R. Geiger is a real degenerate piece of work. He most likely is on several federal lists. Need proof? Just look up his body of work.
Well, Giger was an adult artist, and he drew for adults. It's nobody's saying that you're going to go look at Giger's work and, show it to the kiddies.
That's perfect for this movie, though. I
think they really dialed it back for this film.
Oh yeah, tone it
Yeah.
down a bit, Geiger. Pop
Yes.
culture curators knows
I do think it's
Tom's-
Giger. I could be wrong, but
Is it GIF or GIF? No, it's Jeeger.
I'm just saying. I think was he Dutch?
No, I'm
Is
with
that
you.
it?
It's Giger.
Yeah.
It is Giger. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tom Skerritt was also in the original MASH.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was he? What was it? Doesn't matter.
Oh gosh, I should be able to remember.
It's cool. Don't worry about it.
Well,
You can hear all about it next week on our new MASH podcast.
Who's the second lead in MASH? Trapper
Donald
John?
Sutherland?
He might have been Trapper John.
He could have been Trapper John. I thought he was a different character, though. No, Elliot Gould was
You're right.
Trapper
yeah,
John.
Yeah, Elliot Gould was Trapper. He was a third character.
He was a third character.
He was
Tertiary.
supposed to the ace football player. He wasn't tertiary in the novel. He's there in the novel.
I've never read it.
And Pop Culture Curator says he knows
Duke Booger.
John Hurt from Midnight Express.
I've never seen Midnight
Ditto.
Express.
I was afraid to see Midnight Express.
I will write that down. Thank
The
you, Pop
Tetrarch of
Culture.
Apathy says one of the influences seems to be it, the terror from beyond space.
Yes.
That sounds like fun. I want to see that.
Oh, it's so
Well,
good. The It
all I
Maze.
had to hear was you say it, and I feel like I've enjoyed it. So,
And-
can you say it again, Jill?
And
Or Tiger, if you'd like to.
Oh,
Who goes first?
I don't know what we're doing.
the terror.
No, can you read?
Well, the terror from beyond space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is also similar to Thing from Another Planet. Again, the group of people who are all in a base and an alien invades. And they all have to fight it together, unified. Oh, Duke. Booger points out that Skerritt played Duke.
Thank you,
MASH.
Booger.
Thank you, Booger.
Okay, that's here. Booger says Sutherland was Hawkeye, Gould
Yes.
was Trapper, and Skerritt was
Skerritt
Duke.
was Duke. Yeah.
Thank you, Booger. Rod, they decided this as just a movie about space truckers. And yes,
Well,
Rod
again,
Thunderheart
that's-
is here, the real
Rod.
Earthling space trucker. Oh,
Yes.
but how are you doing, Rod? In the book, Duke was a major character. Oh, neat. Okay. There's a difference between adult work and degenerate art. For the sake of being degenerate. Yeah, that's true.
I can.
Okay, hang on, Wes Cagle. Before we get any deeper, I just want to say I agree to a certain extent. However, I think that Giger's work was fantastical and terrifying in the same way that you would, and I'm no Lovecraft fan, but I would say that Giger's work is on par with the literary works of Lovecraft. It may be startling and degenerate to you in the same way that Lovecraft is startling and degenerate to me, because there is a nihilism to Lovecraft that I don't abide. And so if there is something that is distasteful about Giger's work, I appreciate that you find it distasteful. That's cool. But I wouldn't call it, I don't think it's degenerate.
Nobody's arguing that. You mash up sex and death, and that's always disturbing. It's like, bleh.
Well, yeah. Well, and also this is aggressive sexuality that we're dealing with here in this flick. It is a
the
paralyzing.
man.
Well, it's not about the pregnancy. It's about the violation, which is something
the
I
pregnant
don't.
man is
about both,
kind of
yeah.
a recurring theme in literary science fiction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just I find the
just think
violation
about
more
it.
frightening.
Kane, after the facehugger falls off of him, he's really hungry. He's ravenous. So he goes
Yes,
through
and thirsty.
the symptoms of pregnancy really fast before the thing happens that we'll talk about later.
Right. Which,
Unless you want
the
to talk about
chest
it now.
bursting or the?
I
or
did
the-
have
the
to
chest
wonder
bursting.
if it was the food that triggered the chest
I mean,
bursting.
we don't have
On this-
tiger sharks for that long. So if there's
This is
any
true.
part of the movie you want
On
to talk
this
about
visual,
tiger, you
I
can.
have to say that, I was wondering, just for the first time ever, I was wondering if it was the meal that had triggered the chest burster. Is that the way it goes? Made me wonder.
I wonder, did it need the nutrition?
Or it maybe just pushed it out. You know, it was just the... Oh, anyway. Terribly... God, I love Yaphet Kotto. The two of these guys, so good together.
Yes.
At least 25 hours. That's...
Yeah, I love that. Right. 17. Tell him 17 hours, and then he just ups it to 25. And Harry's like, yeah.
Well,
always push your limits out when you're an engineer. You're going to need that extra time to relax.
Well, and I enjoyed... There is a brief moment between Brett and Parker where they're yelling at Ripley. And to punctuate the scene, Parker turns off the escape valve of whatever gas is blowing. And then he's like, God damn it. Or he says a swear. And then Brett is like, what? As if he doesn't understand what was wrong with the situation in the first place. And then he turns the exhaust back on. And I was always curious as to whether or not Parker was angry at Ripley at the end of that interaction, or angry at the fact that he had to go and release the pressure because he was sick and tired of hearing that sound all the time. It's a character moment, and I don't know what is what. Like, why did he turn it off? Is it just so he could have a moment with Brett? Why did he turn it back on? Is it because it was an engineering necessity? There's something about that moment that is tangible that I will never know. And I love it. And in terms of the direction and making this movie, like the ambiance of the sitch, it just, everything works so well. And we don't even have an alien yet.
Yeah, and that part did confuse me too. And so I knew he turned it on to bother Ripley, but
I always thought he was like, oh shit, it's building. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I like is how much they dramatize the reality of actually entering the atmosphere, actually landing on the moon,
which is 426 426
LV-426.
LV-426. That's very cool.
And if you're just joining us, today is April 26th.
Yeah.
Let's see, is there anybody new here in the chat?
And I guess it's the atmosphere that's primordial, which is an interesting observation. How on earth do you know what the primordial atmosphere was? That's some pretty deep science.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is one of, I don't know if you call it padding. I think it is expanding on the stuff that you had in Dark Star in terms of, you know what space travel is like? No, you don't. And Dan O'Bannon, when he sort of made this scene up, he was like, you know, when you land on a planet in every other science fiction movie and you're just like, okay, we're here. And there were no difficulties or troubles whatsoever. And this was his response to that. And it was like, no.
I love it. Love the science.
I've landed in airports and shit did not go well. Pardon the swear, but it's Friday. And he was enthusiastic about showing, like, yeah, no, if you landed on an alien planet, you don't know what's going to happen. Is there error?
Always a good thing to check before you go running out.
That's the best part, is that it's not right. In a lot of science fiction, you go to a planet and you can breathe the air. It's just like Earth for some reason. And here it's the opposite of that. The air, the temperature, the ground, everything. You have to wear a spacesuit or you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but not only that, but like the landing gear crunches and breaks because there's a rock that doesn't sink into the ground through the weight of the dropship. Not dropship, but
yeah, they have a hull breach. And everything freaks out. As well they should. Of course.
Yes. Love it.
Hello to Edge of Time, who says,
Hail!
Friday.
Edge of Time.
Stick around, Edge of Time. We're about to get penetrated in the oral cavity.
I don't think that's oral, man.
What? That's what a facehugger does. It penetrates you in the oral cavity.
Oh, I was talking about The ship.
No, I was just warning Edge of Time.
The ship is very female.
Well, it's called
Mother.
like, yeah.
I'm talking
she
the
takes
alien ship. The alien ship is all.
Oh, the alien ship.
Yes, the alien ship.
You think that's a lady ship?
Oh, it's very female. Lots of.
Is it because?
Lots of JJ imagery there.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't have to say.
I'm so right.
Oh.
I'm not.
Yeah,
in the
there are
lady
so many
business,
pictures.
I know it when I see it.
Okay. Wow. I don't have one myself, so I don't. I've seen pictures.
I'm sure
I've seen Alien.
And there they go. 20 minutes in. Boom.
Oh, and hello in the chat to Reverend Bernfried Axe Wielder. Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness. Name. Hey.
I just
welcome.
love that movie. It was released the year I was born. I watched it as my first horror movie with my family at the age of 8. And when I need a good time, I go back to it.
Nice.
All these people in the chat are blowing my theory of protecting your children to shards. So.
Show your children Alien.
Look, binary code.
Ah, yeah. Can you read that, Jill?
No.
It's her third favorite episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh, yes.
The Reverend points out that being a little bit of a perv like Giger is totally normal for a German. And
I love Minuet.
I cannot argue that.
Yeah, but Giger is Swiss.
Is he?
I think so. Pretty sure.
Giger was a little bit of a
all
perv.
Over the map on Giger.
Axe Wilder.
So is Giger. But this is absolutely...
I don't think that's off at all. That's right.
But I've always, like, one of the worst things that ever happened to me, ever, was seeing Prometheus and finding out what happened to this particular ship. Seeing this ship fly was one of the worst things that I've ever seen in my entire life. I enjoyed the derelict wreckage.
I hate
as opposed
Prometheus
to
so much that I hope we don't have to refer to it very often today.
We don't. It's the only thing.
I loathe it.
Then let's not.
I did see it in theater, so I gave it a shot.
So did I.
Was excited. Yeah.
Anyway, we should stop talking about it.
Which one is the newer movie where the lady has to perform a C-section on herself?
That's Prometheus.
Okay, yeah, yes. I saw that. Was that even an Alien movie?
Yes, it was. And Scott directed it himself, and the way that he does, he retrofitted all of his theories into what was a perfectly beautiful piece of science fiction, and just did not do it a service.
Right.
No.
He overthinks, that man.
Oh, well.
Can't see a goddamn thing.
Quit griping.
I like griping.
Come on, knock it off.
I like
griping too sometimes. It's a stress reliever.
That reminds me, everybody should head over to my Twitter account and vote on a poll that I have. Hey, Penny's here.
Penny!
Hello, Penny. Let's see what Penny says. I was busy with the slide. Penny says, out and about. And she's shopping. Driving her starship.
Penny, can you grab me some fruit roll-ups?
You need more?
Dude, I ate them all. I need Twinkies and fruit roll-ups.
Do not smoke those fruit roll-ups and Twinkies, I'm just saying.
I know how to work fruit roll-ups.
Edge of Time says the 1979 JCPenney toy catalog features Alien, Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers, The Black Hole, and Star Wars. Freaking Goldmine. Planet of the Apes was still available elsewhere. Oh man, kids in that year were totally spoiled. And Axe Wielder says, I refuse to watch Romulus. It connects bullcrap, the reboot, with the original movie. I wish Ridley Scott would know when to stop.
God, yes.
I don't know, Reverend.
Do you concur?
I don't know. I'm not concurring because Fede Alvarez, I have faith in him as a horror director. He's had the blessing of Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi. And again, the most terrifying thing in the Alien movies have always been the face huggers. And in that trailer, I was terrified of the face hugger again. I'm going to go see it, and I'll let you know when it's done, whether or not I liked it.
Yeah, and obviously none of us has seen it yet, but
Yeah,
if
here's
it,
the Navigator, I believe this
I guess
figure
we'll
is
find
called.
out. Oh, right, the space jockey, or
Yeah.
Space
whatever
jockey.
they want to call it.
Not an engineer.
So big. The
So
Tetrarch
big.
of Apathy says, popping in and out. Hail. I
Hey.
missed. Hell, all I
Eric's.
missed.
Big shout out to
And
Eric's.
Wes Cagle says, Jonesy. Oh, did you see Jonesy? I
did
missed him.
you? I haven't seen Jonesy yet. I don't think.
Oh, but I do
perhaps
have
he's just
Jonesy
excited
permanently
about the
in the
idea of
corner.
Well, yeah, Jonesy has to be included.
Jonesy's always in the corner up there, cleaning himself.
Meow. Speaking
Yeah.
of Jonesy, I just want to shout out Stone Racket because cats.
Yeah, Stone Racket cameo. Honestly, I did think of Stone Racket watching this movie. The ginger cat. His cats Chico and Harpo, although I will, not reveal that I don't know which is which. I know one of them, I think Chico likes TNG and Harpo is the TOS band, and that's what I remember more than the cat's appearance. And hello to Jeff B. Always fascinated by the engineer species. Me too. And no Romulus for Axe Wielder. And hello to Brogu. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I'll look to see if I can get you some Twinkies and fruit roll-ups, Scotty or 37. Nice. What if you wrapped a Twinkie up in a fruit roll-up? Oh.
And smoked it. Don't smoke them, Scotty.
Yeah. Micronauts are the final boss of all toy lines ever. Let's see. Oh, trailers. Oh, that reminds me. Somebody said something about the trailer for this movie. In space, no one can hear you screaming.
Right. Scream.
Scream. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, and that definitely was
That was
phenomenal.
so effective. And with just the egg, I think.
And so
incredible teaser trailer.
Mm-hmm.
When he sticks his fingers in there, I'm like, no, what's wrong with you?
Yes, and Lambert says,
yes.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Sensible. She's the wise one. Sensible.
Hello? Hello? Is my mic working okay?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
But I can't hear anyone else.
Yeah, I came in, it's like all
really
quiet.
Quiet in here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of...
I was talking. I was totally talking. I'm so sorry, guys. I muted myself.
That's why I always...
Welcome, PvP.
Wes Kagels, are you guys all muted? We're waiting for Jill.
That's why I always ask if you can hear me, because I do tend to sometimes...
Okay, so hello. Well, how are you doing, PvP? Are you doing okay?
I'm doing okay, actually. My cousin... Well, the reason I'm late is my cousin and his wife called me a couple days ago and said they were going to the dump today to take some stuff to the dump. And they called and asked if I wanted anything, I needed to get rid of any junk. And I was like, well, I got an old office chair that's pretty much, deceased, so that could go. And they took a few other things as well, so that was awesome of them to do. And they just stopped
Oh,
by a
that's
little while
nice.
ago.
Okay,
So
that's
that's
really
why I
cool.
was late. Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that are deceased, we were just looking at the giant alien that was
yeah.
that was
That's
fossilized. One of the things I
yeah.
forgot to mention is that its rib cage was broken, and they were digging in it.
Yeah, you think they might have guessed something was bad when they saw that, but oh well. The movie has to happen, right?
Yeah, but not only that, but on the ship, Ripley realizes that the signal wasn't an SOS, that it was a warning.
It's like, stay away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh,
it doesn't
boy.
look like an SOS.
Well, one thing I like about this movie is there is a kind of a sub theme of distrust and coercion, and like it's not exactly the most honorable company that they're working for. I always thought when I watched this film.
Oh, definitely.
So
Well,
it's like who do you trust, right?
It's flat out
a
explained that the company wants to explore for the purposes of creating weapons, and doesn't actually care very much about the crew, or even what the crew achieved in collecting all of that ore.
It's like the ore
what
is
is
just a
Scotty doing?
cover. The ore collection's a cover,
I was
I
about to-
guess, basically.
Scotty, what are you doing? Hello?
Hi, I'm looking for the no cigarettes.
Oh, that's under this one, adversarial.
So much smoking in this movie. Lots and lots of smoking.
Cigarettes for you.
No freezers, no fucking ice cream.
It's good to see you, PvP.
Oh, yeah, nice to see you too, Scotty. And Tiger Stripes as well.
Anyway,
Nice to
I'm
see
done.
you too. For part of it, it doesn't look like an SOS. Well, it looks like a warning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like Ripley used the computer to try to translate the beacon.
Well, and
Yes,
that's
and
what
you're
I
right.
was. That's what I was sort of curious about, because Dallas is the captain, Kane is the first officer, Brett and Parker are the engineers. What are Lambert, I guess, is the communications officer. I don't know what Ripley's job is, and I don't.
Ripley's third in command.
Yes.
Yeah. So operations. Just a guess. And then obviously we have Ash as the science/medical officer.
Yeah.
Oh
Ash
wait,
is
no,
obviously
Ripley is the science officer. No, Ripley
Ash
is the
is
science.
No,
Okay, I'm
Ash is
gonna
the
look this
science
up.
officer. No, Ash is the science officer. They say that explicitly in the movie. It seems
But-
to have life, organic life. We're at the egg.
I'm gonna have to pull up the.
Seems to have life. Organic life.
Well, you should stick your face in it. That'll make sense.
Yeah. Now you scared
Oh,
Tiger
no.
Stripes away.
Oh, did Tiger Stripes had to go?
I think
She had to
maybe
drop.
Maybe she got squeamish with the life form.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's so interesting to find out what was used. Like, this was all organic material from an abattoir, to quote Ridley Scott, like in terms of livers and stomach lining of cows. Like, the design, obviously credit to Giger, but to make it look organic and make it look terrifying, this was all, or basically what you make hot dogs out of.
So
organ meat.
So that must have smelled fantastic for the actors on that set, eh, Scotty?
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's like Dagobah where they had like a pond for a couple of months. I think that this is like, they said that at least in the audio commentary, according to Ridley Scott, at that time of recording, he said that they were all brought in fresh every morning. So it wasn't rotting. Yeah.
I certainly hope
Oh, okay, great. So they got fresh oysters on set.
Mm-hmm.
It still must have smelled a lot, though. I mean, come on. Like, we're talking organs and stuff.
Ew. Oh, Booger414 says the Reverend speaks the truth. Okay. Oh, Tiger Stripes is back. Welcome back, Tiger Stripes.
Thank heavens.
Hey. My shitty internet kicked me out. Oh my god.
yeah, welcome back.
You know, I can kind of forgive the series of events that causes this to happen in a way that I could not forgive it in Prometheus. Everybody, all the team in Prometheus just struck me as inordinately stupid, and they did not work together as a team. And that was one of the things that really bugged me about that movie. But this, I can just about forgive. You know, he stumbles, he falls, he goes over to it. He's reporting it as he's talking, and then this happens.
Yeah, well, yeah, and so it is like a warped, dark, mirror of Star Trek, where you're looking for new life, and you're like, oh wow, can we talk to this new life and let's explore it? And oh no.
No. This doesn't look like the type of life that's going to talk to you.
No, indeed.
But it is it is the benefit of being the first movie in a series in which you will forgive the characters for acting exactly as stupid as humans are. It's like, what the hell? It just opened.
That didn't
What's inside?
Stupid. Like I said, if you've seen Prometheus, you
and I think more so.
None of these people strike me as stupid.
More so in Covenant. Covenant is when everyone's IQs just absolutely drop out.
That's a good point. This crew is extremely brilliant in terms of
they're working
their
so hard to work
level.
together and talk it through. And
I think it's just their scientific curiosity gets the best of them here. Basically,
they're not scientists.
Well, of course they are. They wouldn't be in space on an advanced spaceship if they didn't have.
I disagree with you wholheartedly.
No, you're wrong, Scotty. I think PvP's right. They're all scientists, or they wouldn't be on the ship to begin with.
You underestimate the power of Weyland-Yutani. People need to get paid, and you get paid 20,000, whatever that is.
There's a certain amount of education you need to be an astronaut, which will definitely include the sciences.
Or an engineer.
So you won't technically be a scientist, but you'll be aware of the scientific method and those kind of things.
Well, they have a curiosity.
Ripley's doing here, where she's saying, well, protocol is you quarantine. You don't come in the ship.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. 24-hour decontamination.
That's not curiosity. That's self-preservation.
Yeah.
Well, both are at work here.
That's the thing. Mostly the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Following the rules and doing your job. Well, but that's the thing is that when it comes to this movie, I think that Weyland-Yutani, the company, these are ways that you can make money, and all you have to do is know how to push the buttons and work the rules. And that is why that Ripley in the second Aliens is what do you know how to do? Well, the only thing you're allowed to do is use a load lifter.
I like that because he says he could die, and Ripley says we could all die.
Yeah.
It's just she's so cool. She's thinking so
She
clearly.
is. So we don't know she's the hero yet, but we know that she has something to say, and she tries to lead. People are not listening. Yes. And so I do appreciate how she's a really great kind of hero in that way, is how she presents herself.
And one of the things I loved about this too is I saw a clip from Ridley Scott today where someone says, well, you flipped the sex of the character. The character Ripley was originally written male. He said, actually, I didn't do that. I was you're still a new director, and the company suggested that, and I'm like, sure, why not? And I didn't really care about it one way or another. It's just a great character, and I really love that.
Yeah, but the crew were meant to kind of be unisex anyway, so nothing was written one way or the other. But Sigourney Weaver brings a femininity to the role that makes her seem like she's very protective of the crew who are on the ship and distrustful of what may be coming back onto the ship from the planet. And so she's protecting like a like I don't know. Is she protecting like a mother already, even before aliens?
What I like about movies back then was it wasn't about the gender of the characters per se. I mean, they didn't hit you over the head with it, right? They just, they were male or female, simple as that, simple fact. But they didn't make it into sexual politics like so many things are these days. Which I miss films like this because it was all about the story. It wasn't about the gender of the characters. Even though I think Ripley is a great female character, obviously, Jill. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. And so she brings the personality to the unisex lines that she.
Here's Ash who opens that damn door.
Hey, Kat, have you ever seen Alien?
Of course, I've seen Alien.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Yeah, welcome, Kat. And I know Kat is a big expert and fan of the series, so I sent her the link.
Hi, Kat.
Kat's got an eye and an ear and a voice.
There is a deleted scene that shows Lambert slapping Ripley based on this decision. Because she is. Like, Lambert is in a space.
I love that scene.
The airlock. And then when they are reunited after everybody gets back onto the ship for good or ill, obviously for ill, except for Ripley. And even then. Lambert is like, you bitch.
Well, she was right about that.
Oh my gosh, look at all this. Look at these incredible practical effects.
Yeah, they used, what was it, tripe, they said, for the innards of the facehugger?
Wow, I did not realize that.
They bought it at oysters.
Yeah, the oysters I saw, but tripe, wow.
Oh, what is that? What do they call it? It's like lattice. It's tripe. It is tripe.
Tripe is intestines, I believe.
Yeah, they used it from. I think it might have been a lamb.
Menudo's made out of tripe.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing about Ripley not wanting to let Kane into the ship. It kind of, I know I do make Star Trek references. It kind of reminds me of the needs of the Mini who are still on the ship, and Kane, like she would have just let him.
Okay,
like, just, she wants him to go into quarantine for 24 hours.
Well, and Parker does.
That would have saved everybody.
If they had listened to Parker, then the entire human race would have been destroyed in this particular universe, because Parker is like, we should just freeze him. Just freeze him. Like, cryogenically put him to sleep.
That's not an unreasonable. I think it's a good idea.
Well, no, we would have all died, or
that would have been a logical conclusion, but the company would have gotten exactly what they wanted that way.
Exactly.
Do we know how many hours it was after they brought him in that the thing rips out of his chest? Because they said it was only going to be a 24-hour quarantine. Because I can't remember if they
It feels like about a day. It feels like about at least 12 hours or 20.
I would say 12 to 16.
Okay, yeah, because if the incubation period was longer than 24 hours, even if they quarantined him, well, then again, if I was in that situation and I see a guy with an alien like that in his face, I'm not letting you in the ship. So
I can't believe they're not. I do have a problem that they're not in hazmat suits in this shot.
They're wearing masks.
There's such an opportunity for contagion here.
They have gloves.
They got pretty basic protection, Scotty, really. It's pretty basic.
No eye protection, though. And the acid's going to be a problem shortly.
Well,
they don't
yeah.
know yet,
This scene is a bit problematic, I agree.
What? Their ears are also wide open in case that it would have spawned those earworms, like from Gravitate.
Well, from Alien Covenant.
But just when I first saw it, that didn't occur to me. But now, in retrospect, after the lockdown, after pandemic, after masking, after everything, I'm like, hazmat. You need a freaking hazmat suit on, and even that ain't enough.
Beekeepers are more protected than this.
Yeah.
Yes. Good call.
Yeah, fair enough.
Kat, can I tell you a story about beekeeping? I'll be quick.
Okay.
So I was hanging out with this lady who was a beekeeper, and we went to her colony, and she drove up in her car, and we're all sitting around. Not we all. I'm sitting in her car because I'm afraid of bees, as normal people do. And so she goes out, she puts on her bee suit, and she goes and does the thing. And she was introducing a new queen. But anyway, I'm in the car thinking I'm safe. But then I realized the vents, bees started coming in through the vents. And I was getting so freaked out. It was insane. I don't like... bugs will get everywhere, whether you want them to or not.
Even with those beekeeper suits, they still find a way to get in.
Well, but then again, I've heard bees smell fear, so they'll only sting you if you're afraid.
I've never had an issue with bees. It's wasps that I can't stand. Those are the little buggers that'll come right at you. But
white Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
I find bees are generally pretty mellow. Like, I've never been threatened by a bee. Like,
one can easily assume, though, that Ash said to Dallas, "No, everything's safe. Just put on the mask. We'll be fine." Because that's his.
That's right,
his
and
yes.
that is technology taking over, in terms of Ash, just manipulating the crew to doing what he wants.
It'll be fine.
Hey, Alexa.
It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Alexa. Are you
Order! You hear me?
Yes, I read you. The answer is no.
Yeah.
In the hatch open.
Hashtag Ripley.
Without tearing his face off with it.
Yeah, but the helmet remove on that with the sucky sounds and all the goop inside the helmet.
So cool.
Good stuff.
Stark of Iron is in the chat. Ahoy, Stark of Iron. Good to see you, sir.
Tony. Hey, Tony.
Lemon pie.
Lemon Thunderheart. Hey.
Well.
Hello to Lemon Pie, but also Rod Thunderheart sends in a member for 2 months chat. Hail, see-through love. A Spanish teacher can become invisible. Is shocked to find blind gym teacher can see her. And a
Patreon.
Must be Rod's new romance novel.
Well,
don't forget to eat
new.
Don't forget to drink your Ovaltine.
No, it's not new. But since you sent it in the member chat, I'll put it in the chat for you. Rod Thunderheart's book. I'll put it in. I'll put it in the chat for you if you'd like to check it out. And. So
delicious. Not coming off without tearing his face off with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we were. Thank you.
I really like the scientific method that is presented in this scene is great in terms of the fork or the clamp that is trying to take one of the fingers off. And then it's like, nope, can't do that because that'll strangle him more. And then it's like, all right, well, then we'll use this futuristic scalpel that I assume is done by lasers or heat or something.
Looks like a laser.
Yeah. And it's like, nope, that won't work with detrimental effects.
Well, the whole thing with the face hugger, though, is like, you think by now they'd realize that this is not probably a friendly creature that everything's going to work out and be okay. I mean, there's obviously a reason that it's that resistant to being removed from the victim, so to speak. So you got to, I mean, when they think he's recovered before, the big shock, you think they're I just find that they're maybe a bit naive, perhaps. And like maybe they should have done like a full body scan to see if there was
That's what's happening right here.
Yeah, there is a body scan here, but you're right. It should be suspicious that when a face hugger hugs you.
The information, though, they trust Ash.
And so, so when it should be an issue that if a face hugger is hugging you, it decides when the hug is over. You don't decide. And so that should be a big red flag, definitely.
Seems a bit nefarious, yeah.
Well, they gave a shot. I guess you continue to that, but the acid blood, that's just brilliant bioengineering. That's really good science fiction writing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a gut down his throat.
One hell of a defense mechanism.
Feeding him oxygen.
It's a very...
there's an interesting thing here where some people say that robots, artificial intelligence, androids, they should be incapable of lying. They should not be able to lie to you outright. And it's interesting that Ash here chooses the words, "I suggest that."
That is.
Yes. He says,
that
"I
is
suggest
interesting
that it's
verbiage.
feeding him oxygen." Yeah.
And but he's also very deceptive when he sees something on the screen. He sees something that nobody else sees, and then he turns off the
Yes, but he doesn't
monitor.
actually ever lie outright. He just cadges his language.
Well, speaking of language,
it seems to be helpful.
I promised that I would be good, and I promised that I wouldn't be graphic. So I do want to say that one of the reasons that I am terrified by the facehugger is because of unwanted facial penetration. I do think that one of those things of being clamped around your head to suffer the indignity of having something shoved down your throat is one of the most terrifying things. Oh, I'm fine with getting pregnant. I just don't want to be unwantedly gagged by a large tube down my esophagus. So I promised I wouldn't say anything untowards.
And I guess facehuggers are referred to often, Kat, can you confirm, as the mother creature?
The what now?
The mother creature.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like the...
In terms of the alien biology.
Yeah, so before the sequel came along, the idea was that the alien itself makes the facehugger egg, because there was a deleted scene from the first movie that was put back in the director's cut. That's not really a director's cut. They just called it that for marketing reasons. But Ripley, in the climax, goes into the engine room, and she finds Brett is practically cocooned inside a facehugger egg. So the xenomorph...
I think it was Dallas, but you're right.
No, there's both. There's Dallas is the one who's not really cocooned, but you see Brett in one shot where he's practically almost completely encased in an egg and is really already dead. And so the xenomorph biologically originally would create the facehugger eggs, and so it was like what came first, chicken or the egg type of thing. And then James Cameron changed that in the sequel to have the alien
works
queen.
better. Yeah, where there's a queen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And since technically the scene was deleted, I guess it doesn't really count as part of the alien canon anymore. And so you could eliminate that part about the xenomorph creating its own facehugger eggs. But it was interesting to see that. I thought that was a really creepy scene. I mean, I get why they cut it because it totally interrupts the flow of the climax. But it was a really creepy, great scene to check out.
It does make sense, though, that the xenomorph would be laying eggs. I mean, that does kind of make sense.
Well, but it's true, though, from an insect point of view, you really have to have a queen to make eggs. But, which would really make this one guy a lone ranger, if it was male. Or,
well, people tend to apply the word
neutered.
And when people do tend to apply the word insect to it, even though technically it's not really a bug, it's like, because we see in Alien 3 that when it, gets the dog, it has a different type of anatomy.
It takes on the aspects of whatever it germinates in.
Right. So it's like not necessarily a bug. I mean, I get why, because plus in the original one, it wasn't that the xenomorph was laying the egg; it was actually making it, like somehow. And I would love to see how that actually works. But so it's kind of interesting. Like, if you look at it from a bug perspective, then there would be a queen. And that just seems to be the go-to that people would have, especially with sci-fi movies back then. It was always, giant bugs or something like that. So people are like, oh yeah, it's kind of like a bug.
Well, we do kind of apply our own planet Earth biology to any sci-fi.
Oh, 100%.
Don't we? So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And Wes Cagle wants everyone to know that tripe is the cow stomach, or I guess any animal stomach.
I was thinking of chitlins earlier.
It actually makes me think of menudo.
I'm thinking of haggis now all of a sudden. But that's a sheep stomach, is it not? When they do haggis?
Well, I think menudo is cow stomach, but I've never had haggis.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not in any big hurry to try it either, actually.
No, I know, but I love Manu though. I don't care that it's the cow guts. I'll eat it.
Okay, well, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Lemon Pie says hello. Oh yeah, okay. I did say hi to Lemon earlier.
Hey, what am I, chopped liver or something here? Hey, Lemon.
And Rod Thunderheart wants you to know that he's working on his second book right now, but this one is his first one. So if you want to be ready for his second one,
nice.
Go check out his first one. So I'm just catching up with the chat here and seeing who's here. Melvin Deeply is here. Hello, Melvin. Good, great to see you. Scotty promised to be good. Who are you? What did you do with the real Scotty? Don't want to be impregnated either. Yeah, right. It should be a consensual kind of thing.
Oh, I say Lemon said hi to me earlier. Okay. That's cool, Lemon.
Subbed to everyone so far. All right. Branko says, when I watched Prometheus, I didn't class it as an alien film. On that basis, it wasn't too bad. Well, but then it was at the very end, because they do kind of have a teasing kind of thing at the very end of the movie.
I haven't seen Prometheus, but I've heard it's pretty bad. And
it is pretty bad.
Ridley did direct it, did he not?
Yes, he did.
Remember? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he wrote it as well.
Oh boy,
that's his baby.
Ooh, that's
and I did
bad,
see
right?
Veronica Cartwright today saying that she had a problem with Prometheus in that the android in that film, which is supposed to be a prequel, is much far advanced over Ash. And she feels like, chronologically that just doesn't seem right. And so, point.
Well, it seems like Ridley Scott's movies over time have gotten worse and worse and worse. Sadly, he seems like he's one of those directors that started off like near genius level and has just deteriorated as the decades have gone by. Didn't he do that Napoleon thing that came out like 6 months ago, which I heard was pretty atrocious?
They did, and they just announced, like I think last week, that contrary to what he said, they're not going to put out his 4.5-hour director's cut, not even on the streamer. They're like, no, it wasn't successful enough. They're not investing any more money in that project.
Oh dear.
I heard it was really bad, like historically inaccurate and just not.
I thought it was kind of mildly enjoyable, but it's not something you watch for historical accuracy. It was kind of funny, but
Yeah, that's
I'm going to catch up on my clips real quick because
Scotty mentioned the
Get it off. Just a minute.
Just a minute. No, don't get it off.
Let's not be too hasty. Now we're assuming it's feeding him oxygen. If we remove it, could kill him.
I won't even take that chance. Just cut it off and
Yes, and that is Ash saying, no, don't kill it. So that happens more than once where he deters
they go back
people.
And forth on that. Yeah.
Well, he's the company man, right? Or
yeah, right. The company does not want the alien killed.
The company
and so
plant.
Ash is following that plan.
Oh, the phone's ringing. Just a second. I got to mute.
He is the self-checkout of Wayland Yutani.
and they have the
oh my God, look at it go.
I love this so much.
So terrifying.
So what you're
really
saying
gives a nice sense of movement to the story too.
So what you're saying is that you sorry.
I feel like Kat was going to say something, and
I thought it was a really ingenious idea that they added the bit to the script when the new screenwriters took over that this has a level of like a corporate angle rather than just some alien got aboard a ship, and just because it adds this whole other level of sinister nature to the whole thing. Especially since, for the most part, the corporation is kept in the dark through most of these movies.
It makes the world a lot bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's very confined to the ship, but you know that there's a universe outside of it. Oh, and Tony wants us to know he's hosting a Alistair Rand show at 4. I think he means 3 Central. For his friend Kay, who's in between jobs. And so it's a fundraiser for his friend. And it'll be a party, I suppose. Okay, so there you go. And then, and tonight after Oh, okay. And then, of course, he has his after party after Friday Night Frolics. And then on the 10th is, on May the 10th, he's going to have a fundraiser for Suzanne Exton, who does not have running water. As that is what I understand. So thank you, Tony, for catching us up on that. And had you verbally said hi, I'd notice you sooner, Lord of the Eggnog. Lemon Pie says to PvP. And happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday. Remember that idiot Patrick Wellham said, how come acid doesn't burn through the whole ship?
Well, they do actually address that in this scene. Mm-hmm. At some point, it just slows down. Although it still does in Brett's pen.
Yeah,
what do you do with that? It's just when somebody hands you back,
it's done. Here's your pen back.
A pen that you don't want to touch, even infinitesimally.
Yeah, so definitely.
I love that the two engineers are just very practical through all this. Don't get under it. Don't get under it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this creature's blood is like acid. It is acid. And
well,
so
to quote the ECA rep, pardon me, from Aliens, to be perfectly frank, we've surveyed over 300 worlds, and no one's ever reported a creature which, using your words, gestates in a living human host and has concentrated molecular acid for blood. Like, the indignant nature of the people who know about it is terrifying. The corporate structure
perhaps can eat through that.
To shut you up. Yeah.
Sorry.
For what?
I interrupted your I thought you were finished.
I was. Yeah, that was the whole quote.
That craps can eat through the hull. Don't say anything like that except molecular acid.
Must be using it for blood.
One hell of a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's kind of surprising that, like as we see in the sequel, when the Marines are just shooting him, how easily the aliens drop down from the bullets, but they're immune to, but their acid blood doesn't burn through their, through their bodies.
Oh, but it does. It happens to. Oh.
No, I mean like naturally. Like if it's there, it's not like boiling through its skin, But a little bullet will be able to pierce through pretty easily.
But I kind of got the sense that their flesh was like silicone.
Well,
like it had to be. Sorry.
Well, I mean, the facehugger and the xenomorph, they're really two different creatures.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying. So you're saying that it becomes more concentrated, or it becomes more natural to the organism? I just think the
facehugger has defensive capabilities that the xenomorph doesn't need, because its purpose is to be the mother, is to implant the egg and then and see to it that it's incubated for a particular period of time, and then it just dies. That's the end of its life. It's a pretty simple creature, really.
Yeah. It's and then that's the end of its life. And it kind of makes me think of natural selection in terms of how species develop different defense mechanisms in general to survive.
Gavin Blackburn, you rapscallion, you. Xenomorphs are made out of horta.
No, I love Horta. That's not
well, right. And yeah, no, Horta aren't going to make love to your face unwillingly. And a chill filled the room. Do love Yaphet. He is so amazing in this film.
I love Yaphet so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also in terms of the set design, they were talking about the idea that the medical bay is directly under the commissary because they had to design the ship in a circular way for each of the compartments. This was a very expensive set, apparently.
Wow.
Just because circular sets, you have to make the whole thing. You can't make part of it. Or at least that's what Ridley Scott said at the time.
And there's the embryo up on the screen.
Oh, he sees it.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Ripley doesn't recognize it. And this is a jump scare, which is very nice, because he does this to her later when she's talking to Mother, where all of a sudden she just kind of comes in from the side like a little jump scare.
I love this entire scene. This is one of the
back and
best
forth
scenes. The entire thing is perfect.
Yeah, and she's asserting her authority too, which you gotta love.
And you can tell how annoyed he is that he has to talk to her.
I don't like this movie because of women.
He's artificial intelligence, but he's also a little on the spectrum, isn't he? He's just...
Like, doesn't he know he's a man? Shouldn't he just say, I don't like you, and then take his white privilege?
Oh, boy.
I know. I'm being silly and facetious.
You sound like Goofy.
I sound like nerd-erotic, but whatever.
So, how's Kane? He's holding.
Yeah, there he's throwing in some cusses, which he doesn't do.
And our guest? Well, as I said, I'm still collating. So that's what he keeps saying throughout the whole movie. I am collating.
He's basically just trying to ascertain how good a weapon this thing's going to be.
Well, the picture there, you can see the eye and the little beak. It's almost cute.
And he's trying to tell her as little as possible. Of course, he's turned off the monitor so she doesn't look at the alien growing inside of.
It's too bad he doesn't have a power pack that can just remove and shut him off, actually.
And he's also avoiding the outright lie. I'm sticking with my theory.
I like your theory very much.
Yeah, your theory is very interesting, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, he does tell her something truthful, that the alien has an outer layer of protein, polysaccharides.
Yeah. What the hell are those? It sounds like something you can eat. Yeah.
Right? And has a habit of shedding his shells and replacing them with polarized silicone, which we see later when the alien sheds itself all over the place.
That's a good silicone-based life form, like the
molting.
Horta. Nailed it.
Oh, hey, whoever said the Horta
nailed it.
50 quatloos.
That was me. I said
no. It was somebody in chat.
No,
this is
yes, it was someone in the chat.
Not
I'm
friendly
just
like the Horta.
Well, very acidic though. Like, let's not forget she can pass through stone.
She did. She also did eat through things like acid, through metal. That's fair enough.
Jill, let's chalk it up to another thing that Star Trek did first: the xenomorph.
Only in motherly defense, though. That's the only reason she was using her nasty acid.
Well, and the same thing can be said about the xenomorph. Only protecting her children.
I don't buy that, Scotty. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but this is malicious versus defensive.
This xenomorph is a predator, plain and simple.
You know what? Maybe if Spock could do a mind meld with it, we would understand differently.
Oh my god!
You assume that it has a mind?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, it's absolutely got a mind. Are you kidding?
We're not there yet, but there's a moment at the very end of the movie where the xenomorph is looking at the kitty and it tilts his head like, oh, I'm so like it just
what
really
is this?
about it.
Okay, well, I haven't seen the movie in like 20 years, so I'm forgetting stuff.
Oh.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I still remember, the basic movie.
Well, today is the day, sir. If you are intending on revisiting, happy 426.
Well, as I said, I'm still collating, actually, but...
I was fucking collating.
He has a funny habit of shedding his cells and replacing them with polarized silicon.
Goodness.
His collating is his go-to word, and it eventually really pisses Ripley off.
Well, it reminds me of, let's circle back to that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's an interesting combination of elements, making him a tough little son of a bitch.
And you let him in.
Now, can you play that one more time?
And you let him in.
I want to highlight, just for a brief moment, the sound design of the ship and the
ambient sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's excellent.
Like, it's not, it's one of those things that adds to it. Just the suspense of the film is that it's all off-putting. It's not necessarily all through the score, but just through the sounds that these people would have to work through all the time. It's character building, but it's also the world. Heavens.
It's not the
Love
most
it.
comfortable workplace scenario, that's for sure.
Well, it's kind of like a lot of people
Lemon Pie says, and you let him in, is what people say when Scotty is on a panel. Bazinga! Oh,
That's right.
Sorry,
I take
Scotty.
responsibility.
I couldn't help myself.
Scotty.
This is so funny.
It is well, and I take responsibility for Scotty when I let him on my
Scotty's
panel.
making some great points today.
No, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's why that's why I let him in.
I've been doing so hard not to say face rape.
Yeah. Well,
you just said
you've been doing
Say
such
it.
a great
It's a
job.
Victorian rape horror.
It is.
film.
It is.
Yeah.
And yeah, if it's said once or twice, that's fine. And it's.
I think I
but
used
that's what
mine
it
up.
is. It's a sexual.
I
It's a
used mine up,
sexual
too.
assault.
Oh, there's no doubt. Literally. Pregnant
Well,
man.
you kind of have to because that's the movie.
And it's funny that someone, Lemon, brings it up. It's like, oh no, you can't let Scotty on. Like, I've been banned from certain chats for saying
All
what the
best
facehugger
people get
does.
banned.
And so, like, I like saying what things are. I hate that my vernacular is accurate.
It's absolutely dishonest to talk about this movie without mentioning that. Actually,
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Anyway, I think it's interesting that the structure and the hierarchy structure on the ship, when Dallas and Kane are off the ship, I'm senior officer. So even if Dallas and Kane are right next to the ship, they're not in command.
Right.
Yes. They're not on the ship.
And
this is like
pretty much
Uhura taking the Enterprise.
Well, right. If Kirk and Spock and Scotty, if Kirk, Spock, and Scotty are not on the ship, Uhura should be in command, but for whatever reason, it's usually Sulu.
Do you want Brett in charge? Why don't you put her in charge?
Well, Ripley is third in command, so
yes. I want to find out what Ripley's job is.
She's a warrant officer.
She is a warrant officer. You're absolutely correct. I don't even have to look it up. Thank you, Tiger.
And not only was she in command and got her orders disobeyed, he also forgot the science division's basic quarantine law.
She knows something's up with him. She just knows.
Yeah, he knows what he's
can
doing.
smell it.
When Dallas and Kane are off the ship, I'm senior officer.
It has to go back. All sorts of tests have to be.
I think he suspects that Ripley's on to him too, and look at that still. I mean, I get a feeling there's resentment there that he's feeling.
Well, that's why he's cussing,
Yeah.
He's kind of trying to push her away verbally.
Yeah, he doesn't like that Ripley's on to him, basically.
Unfortunately, by breaking quarantine, you risk everybody's life.
Yeah. Like, this isn't a matter of resentment. This is a matter of you broke the rules.
He resents her, not the other way around, Scotty.
Well, yeah, but as anyone would be resentful towards someone reprimanding them. I don't
I don't think it's so much reprimanding as she's on to his little scheme, so to speak.
Hey, Sporf is here. Hey, Sporf.
She suspects that.
Hello, Sporf.
His
Thank you.
motives are not good for the group.
Well, he's a a golden robot.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce that? Spore?
But we don't know that at this point.
I don't know.
Never saw the film before.
When I first met Sporf, I decided that I was going to call him or them Sporf.
Ah, okay.
So SP4H. I was like, who's Sporf? Because I'm not looking at the chat.
Right.
I do know SP4H.
But Sporf, it makes sense, right? I hope it's not offensive.
No, it's not offensive.
Maybe Sporf will tell us how to say Sporf's
Yeah,
name.
exactly. How do I pronounce Sporf?
Yeah, so, look at that
Sporf?
beautiful shot, man. Everything here is just
SP4H.
so glorious. The design, the miniatures, just chef's kiss.
It is defined specifically by SP4H themselves. SP4H.
Oh,
and Dallas got one last moment of peace. He is listening to some classical music.
And I have a real problem with this particular scene. They go in with no weapons, no protection.
No fucking ice cream.
No cattle prod, no face mask.
No cigarettes.
And they know that thing's in there. I guess they do have tiny cattle prods. They have tiny electric prods. I think that's what those are.
Well, yeah, right. So the dangerous monster is missing. So let's all just walk in here with no protection. That makes sense.
I forget. So there's no weaponry on board, I'm guessing.
You need to see this movie again, man.
I know. Totally. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, there are weapons.
As we get there,
you'll
find out. You're going to have to
thinking of
listen
Alien
as we
3
go.
PvP. You're thinking of Alien 3 where they don't have weapons PvP.
Okay. But even a mining ship should have some basic armaments, right?
They do.
They do.
We'll find out as we go.
Okay. Good.
So far, we don't need them.
Oh, rest in peace, space boots.
thing-
Yeah, I never cried over the space boots.
This thing being cantilevered out. Beautiful design. Just gorgeous.
Hey, J-Man is here. Alien is my 11th
J-Man.
favorite movie of all time. That is awesome that
Nice.
you
Wow, it's very
know
specific.
your top movies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I just had my first top 10 show on Tuesday for the top 10 TOS episodes, and I want to do more top 10s, so I'll think of some. I don't know if I could do a top 10 movies of all time. That might be good. That might be a good Friday one day.
They have to be movies that you've had on your channel, of course, though.
Oh,
No,
they don't. Just movies I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what if we haven't seen them?
10.
We'd have to watch them.
Well, then they wouldn't be in her
Then they
top
wouldn't
10.
be on. Yeah, they wouldn't be on. You're
Just learn
gonna have your
something.
own list. You're gonna have your own list.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
get it.
keep up. Come on, man.
It'll be like a movie potluck. Everyone brings their own.
Exactly. Then we can share.
Hello, Lord Thought.
Family style.
So who's bringing the pot roast?
You are.
You.
Because you brought it up.
Bring the shepherd's pie, which will probably be Lord of the Rings.
I'll bring some tripe. How's that sound?
No! I don't know why I got so angry about that.
Jacob Ironside says, I have a suspicion that Kat was working with the alien. Hail, everybody. I don't know. I just think the cat had the same kind of instincts that the alien had. Both being both a cat is both predator and prey at the same time. And I think that's what made the alien curious about it.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up, like, there are so... What?
Oh, Gavin says, play it again. Which one do you want me to play again, Gavin? I'll play it again.
As time goes by.
That was probably a while back, too.
No, play as time goes by. You can play it for her. You can play it for me.
I don't have it. And Lemon Pie says, let me be clear. I love Scotty.
Lemon, I love you. You have always been so supportive.
Calls people to sort of show them what's developed. He doesn't define it. over the comm. He just says, no, you just need to see. So he's really exposing people to more contagion. She's duper creepy.
Reverend Bemfield Axwelder says, oh no, there was one previous. Ash being an android was kept secret to the crew. That's why everyone was freaked out so much when he was defeated. Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the malicious nature of the company of Weyland-Yutani is crew expendable. What do we need? Well, we need a robot. We need an android. And I would speculate that the most interesting thing about Prometheus and Covenant is the exploration of the existence of robots or androids or synthetic people. But I think that Ridley Scott did it better in Blade Runner. And I think Denis did a good job in following up in 2049. But this movie is called Alien. It's about aliens. And
it's about a particular alien, but it's also about the alienness of the environment that they're facing.
And here's
like
Ash
that is
saying,
one of the
wait.
most terrifying.
He says wait a lot when everybody's actually in potential danger. He says wait. Yeah, wait for what?
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
It certainly is a disgusting design, that's for sure. It's just horrific.
Well, it's a perfect time to bring up. I don't know if anybody in the chat or anyone on the panel has had the opportunity to play Alien Isolation, the video game. And it is very terrifying. It is a survival horror game.
It's also
it takes
got all
place.
the lead actors doing the voices.
Oh,
There
really?
is,
Wow,
yes.
that's awesome.
Yes.
Which is pretty
That's
remarkable.
awesome for me.
I didn't even
That's
know
like it's like a side, like that's a DLC, I think, though.
It was made
Downloadable
in
content.
2009.
I think so. Yeah.
I just heard about it today for the first time ever.
That's
I was really
awesome. I have it.
surprised to see that all the actors were actually doing the roles. It was really remarkable.
And it is a terrifying game in terms of a survival horror game. And one of the things that aliens do not give a good goddamn about, pardon the swear, is androids and robots, because there are a lot of robots.
Hey, maybe Jill should do that in one of her game streams some night. That would be fun.
Yeah, maybe. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Go back. All sorts of tests have to be.
Ash, are you kidding? This thing bled acid. Who knows what it's going to do when it's dead?
Good line.
I think that it's safe to say it won't become a zombie.
Well, he
Yeah, Jill,
follows
you
up
should-
with that.
That'd be fun if Jill did that game. Be better than Leisure Suit Larry, that's for sure.
Hey, I'm having my fun. You don't like point and click adventures, but that's okay.
Well, no. I didn't say that. It's just, sometimes.
Yeah, you did. You just said it.
No, I said Alien sounds like it would be more
Oh,
exciting.
let's do stay on target, gentlemen.
I agree.
Well, the next scene is very good because Ripley is saying, how can you listen? How can you leave that decision to him? Like, basically, you're captain. Why aren't you being captain? Because of the company.
Oh,
And that's the
referencing
answer.
the face hugger, Lemon Pie says, turn that thing into Menudo. It's like, no.
I do. I
love
do
Menudo.
desperately. What? You love Menudo? Well, hang on a second. I was going to say something, but I have to go. What did you just say?
Jill's Hispanic.
Menudo.
You didn't know Jill's Hispanic? Come on, man, keep up.
Yeah.
What? I
It's
thought
a
she was
kind of-
Nordic.
Well, I was mentioning I mentioned this earlier. I like to eat menudo, and it is made of cow intestines and hominy and all this, and
I have
sometimes
never had
cabbage.
it, but I had chitlins
Really good.
in war wonton soup once, and I loved it. And I took a friend who was African American. She's like, "These chitlins ain't been cleaned right." I'm like, "Oh, well, I thought it was
yeah,
delicious."
yes,
But
it absolutely
apparently
has to be
that's
cleaned.
important.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So is Menudo kind of related to haggis a bit? There, Joe?
Yes, I think so. Even though
yes,
I've never had
maybe.
haggis.
I mean, it's all awful.
I'm-
Speaking of which,
I thought Menudo was a band.
Well, yeah, I'm glad Jill's not eating them. Like,
Well, it has cow stomach and
Cannibalism.
tongue in it.
Veronica
But
Cartwright
no.
mentioned that during the
It's not
birth
people.
scene, which we're coming up on, and I think that also with the facehugger, and maybe Kat can confirm that these things were actually made out of animal parts and they stank.
Yes, the tripe was for the innards of the facehugger. They used the bladder of some type of I can't remember what they got the bladder from, but for the how it kind of billows almost like an airbag. But yeah, they mostly made it out of animal parts. And then they had it was designed at the back so somebody could put their hand inside to cause it to flutter, to make the the movements.
Mm.
But yeah, it was animal parts, and apparently they were able to get the tripe just from a local grocery store, and it just looked really disgusting. But when they put it all together, it's great when you go that extra mile because it looks real.
Oh yeah, no, it's beautiful. But Veronica Cartwright said it was like being in a really the back of the butcher shop. It really stank. Yeah. Which I had never heard before, so that was fascinating.
The company gets what the company wants. And also Dallas finds out, hey, the repairs are finished, so they return the Nostromo to the refinery in space.
Yeah, he's bending the knee to science. And when did that happen? Recently.
Mm-hmm. Normally my favorite character is the science officer, but in this movie they kind of turned the science officer into a villain.
True dat.
Well, if you want to manipulate data to influence the people around you, you are able to confuse them with what others would perceive as finger quotes science.
Well, he's taking the authority of science.
Well, you can't argue with science, right?
Or can you?
Oh, sure. I'll give it a go.
Anytime someone asks him about the science, he says, I'm still collating on that.
Exactly.
Yes.
All the collating.
Collating.
Oh, yeah, Parker still wants to freeze him.
I think it's a great idea.
Well, I think Ripley can take care of it. Hey! Look who's in the chat. It's FKHC2005. I'm not going to make a cute short form for that. If I remember right, they used a lot of parts from the Avro Vulcan to make the set. And there was a lot of salvaging from actual aeronautics and whatnot. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Fakakta. No, wait, that's not. I didn't.
Oh, hey, thank you so much, FK. Oh, wait, FKH.
Yeah, you say it. I can't.
Yeah, thank you, FKHC 2005. I found out that that's a hockey team. I clicked on his channel one day. He has a few videos about it. And Kane's awake, and he seems okay, except for all the traumatic violation that he experienced, which he's trying to suppress.
I don't think he has any memory. They even ask him.
Yeah.
He says, I had some horrible dream. Yeah, he had some horrible dream about smothering. And so that's his memory. And it is very suppressed.
Well, it's about to, he's going to be able to release it shortly.
Well, for sure, yeah. Mm-hmm. But first, he's really hungry. So hungry.
I would like a calzone, please. Yeah.
And so, this is like the scene earlier when they had breakfast right after waking up. And so you think, okay, they're celebrating. They're going to go back to sleep. It's going to be 10 months, and they're going to go back home.
Yeah, and the movie will be over.
Well,
But,
and
yeah, we know that doesn't happen.
and I know I said I don't see a lot of friendship in this movie, but this is the time where they come together.
Yeah. Some flirting, some eating some what looks like really gruesome food.
Yeah, right. If you're having Thanksgiving dinner, you wouldn't be too happy.
Didn't they even say in the breakfast scene that it was like crap, like, really bad food? I think there was a line somewhere.
No, that's in Aliens when they are like, I think it's supposed to be cornbread.
I saw it in Jill's, one of Jill's.
That's at the beginning of the film, though, and we're here now. So.
But just saying,
yeah,
I mean,
there's a
the
point
food
where
probably is
Yaphet
horrible.
Kotto says, coffee's the only good thing.
Well, even in this scene, he says, when I get back home, I'm going to have some real food.
Yeah, this is clearly something that's maybe soy generated by the ship.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Like what it really is made out of. But whatever it is, it's not sitting well with Kane.
Talk about indigestion. Wow.
Water my ass! Get this man some Pepto-Bismol!
Ah!
There's the shot.
That is Veronica Cartwright. Now, there's been a lot of things said about the filming of this scene that it was going to be a surprise for the actors. That's not true. I've heard some, like, even I think Tom Skerritt was in on the setup to see how everything was going to go down. Everyone knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
they didn't know, but they didn't know how it was going to happen.
They understood it was coming out of the chest, but the actual seeing it happen for the first time was pretty grim. And Cartwright says that they had to wait quite a while the effects people set the shot up, and then it wasn't quite bursting right, and the guy had to come in and tear the shirt a little more to open it up to let it come out. So they were really on pins and needles, just sort of anxious, waiting, and it was just a one shot. They only filmed it once. And she said that she was so fascinated by it that she leaned in and she took the blood right in the face, the blood jet. Yeah. And that wasn't planned. So her response...
It's genuine.
Even though, it's a genuine response, even though, of course, they were actors and they understood what was going to happen. They were reacting as if it was in real time. They were also good.
She also fell on the floor. She slipped in the blood or something.
Yeah, she mentioned that in a couple of interviews I saw, that which I've never seen. Apparently there's a cut of that where she falls ass over tea kettle and you see both of her cowboy boots up in the air. I would really love to see that. She said it's very Max Sennett. She said it's just really too funny. It's no wonder they had to cut around it. But that, she actually fell on her
one of the wide shots, you notice that she's suddenly not in there because she fell on the ground. And then,
and she has to run back in again.
Too bad they didn't save that for bonus features later on or something, but oh well.
It's somewhere to be seen. It's somewhere to be found.
Well, and it is also something to be said about the chest burster itself is that it continues with the sexual overtones of the violence. Like at first you have the unwanted pregnancy through your face, and then when you die, you have a phallic monster erupt from your chest, and it is still terrifying, and yet it's engaging and repulsive at the same time. It's terrifying to play on those two things where it's violence.
And there's Ash suppressing Parker's instinct to kill it, which is spot on.
Well, but that, come on, Parker.
Don't touch it.
Well, Parker has a knife. He's going to stab it in the head and then have his arm burn off.
It doesn't matter.
His arm is burning off if he stabs it.
You got to kill that thing.
It may burn through the hull if you stab it.
No, he's defending it. Look at him with the hand up.
He just wants to save the weapon for the company. That's what it amounts to.
But also, we are in space again. And if you do stab it in the head, you're probably going to get a lot of acid, which may burn through the hull, which will also kill us all.
That doesn't happen later?
Christopher Dominguez mentions Kane's corpse twitching. That was really, really creepy. His hands are still jerking.
Oh, Christopher Dominguez. I love this thing with John Hurt and the performance.
Such a great detail.
And Tiger, if you would read Christopher Dominguez.
I just mentioned one detail not noticed is Kane's corpse still twitching. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it
Delicious.
It is one of the most gruesome scenes in film history. I mean, yeah.
Penny says, when I was pregnant with my firstborn, he erupted through my wait. So when I was pregnant with my firstborn, aka Dork Night, I saw this movie in the theater. Just as the alien jumped out of the egg and face planted, my son kicked me. Screams ensued throughout the theater.
As well
Delightful.
Should Penny.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a great story.
But that also answers the question that we've had for so long: is when should you show your children Alien? In utero.
I'm sorry. I am away just for a couple of minutes.
And there he goes. Look at that little bastard. Oh my God.
Well, that'll kill your appetite real fast.
Yeah, it scurries off the table and it hides
so fast. It moves so fast. Yeah, that would have really been your best shot at killing it, right then and there.
Oh yeah. But the movie has to happen.
Well, you keep saying that, and I disagree with that philosophy.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I'm kind of tired of hearing it, frankly. I mean,
if they killed the
we
alien,
know that.
What's the movie going to do after that if they killed the alien?
Well, no. But part of this, though, is the repartee between Ash and everybody, where Ash is really following this single pursuit to protect the alien.
Like, it is a matter of every story is precipitated by an impetus and a reaction. And the story progresses to entertain the audience. And so to dismiss any particular story by saying they did that stupid, or I don't like what they did there because movie had to happen. And it's like, well, no, because story had to happen. And if you want to say that you're smarter than the story and you could have resolved it quicker, it's not golf. Like, lowest score doesn't win. It's a matter of being entertained along the way. And so I disagree fundamentally with movie had to happen. Like, you can say, oh, okay, we have to protect the protagonists or whatever. But
SP4H says it was vulnerable. That's why Ash told everyone not to touch it. Just boom. And here's the space burial, which is just so poignant. And it makes me sad that nobody had any words. They were still just all in shock.
That's what it is. Were they just in shock, or
did
they not
I think they had
any feelings for Kane?
I think they had feeling, but it's kind of a sad thing to have to be buried at space.
Just like being buried at sea, I guess.
Well, but worse. At least the ocean is finite.
I don't think either one is the ultimately, satisfying option. Like, it's not the way I'd want to be buried, but. By the way, Scotty, so if they did...
Well, I guess space is cold and it doesn't offer the comfort and spirituality of Earth.
Well, the ocean is too. It's pretty cold.
But the ocean's on Earth.
I want to ask Scotty, so if they did kill the alien in that scene, it would have been just as good a movie?
They went to the trouble, to wrap his body.
And that would be the burial in space, I suppose, is the courtesy of, I don't want to say mummification, but at least shrouding the body.
Yeah.
Well, it's
a
tradition.
Just kick it out the airlock.
It is a tradition, right?
Well, they could have used a photon torpedo and shot it onto Genesis, but who knows?
But this isn't Trek, so they didn't.
Oh, isn't it? Okay.
It's like a warped version of it.
Warped.
But of course, this even if it were, this is like one of those other ships. It's not even, obviously it's not the flagship of the fleet. It's the truckers of the fleet. So it would be more like the ship that had the quadrotriticale in it.
This is like the ship that picks up the Enterprise D after it crashed on Viridian.
Yes.
The tugboat. I do love this tugboat, though. The Nostromo is such a brilliantly designed ship, and I know we touched on it earlier, but I love the practical effects of
it's
of
a whole
this spaceship.
refinery. It can process ore.
Well, what else are you going to do while you're sleeping?
Yeah, it's a good use of time.
Yeah.
And so they plan on how to capture the little alien, and so they want to throw it out the airlock. It's a good idea.
I say we take off, nuke the whole site from orbit. It's the only way to be
the only way to be sure.
Sorry, I should have let you finish that.
Well, you didn't know I could.
Yes, I did. You're very talented. I hate to underestimate you, but I think I just did. And this is where they break into the song All Right Now by Thin Lizzy, I think. I'm not sure. It's a very strange musical number. I didn't realize they were going to do it.
If it came between killing the perfect organism and putting a hole in the ship, Ash would put a hole in the ship.
You what?
I don't think so, because it's the perfect organism. Ash really admires the alien.
Mm-hmm.
Booger 414 says Scotty's onto something. UT, there is the bigger philosophical question of when does fandom begin?
At the edge of the fandom is the undiscovered country.
Oh, Christopher Dominguez says, I saw it 12 years ago when I was starting high school. I was 14 at the time.
See, 12 seems more respectable. 14, pardon me.
14, yeah. 14 is a better age to be watching Alien.
I think I was 11 when I
10.
first saw this film.
How old?
11.
11. I think 11.
On the old Sci-Fi channel, and every time they cut to break, they're like, "We'll be right back," and they play like a clip in an inset when they have the logo on, cutting commercials, and the clip they show is Dallas being seized by the alien, and it's like spoilers, but it was, but it had the effect of, wow, that's really cool. I want to see what happens there.
It's a little tugboat. Oh yeah, I meant to ask you how you first saw the movie, and you told me anyway. Thank you, Kat.
Yeah, it was great. And then I got it on the first time I got to watch it uninterrupted from start to finish is when I got the Alien Quadrilogy DVD set in 2003.
Dope.
Yeah. Oh, I was excited to see it. We were going to do the one night only thing at Halloween that year. My theater had posters for it, but they didn't end up screening it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Until the 40th anniversary screening in 2019 in a theater, and I'm probably going to see it again tonight at 6.
Oh, I have to look this up. You son of a bitch.
Wow.
I have to see if it's available in my town.
We had.
I think it's going to be
Jonesy.
Yeah.
Jonesy did a jump scare.
Meow.
And they were just trying to catch this alien with like a cattle prod and a net.
And a net.
They still thought it was about, 8 inches tall, but no.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they thought it was still a little baby. They didn't realize how fast it grows.
Oh, stop me from saying that's what she said.
Well, they were thinking in human terms of Earth biology, right? And they didn't expect anything to grow that fast.
Yes, but they're afraid that they're going to keep catching Jonesy on the tracker. So they want to catch the cat so the cat doesn't mess up their tracking ability.
Oh.
Well, and I don't want to take away from any of the sequels or anything that happens subsequently after this film, but everything about this alien is alien. like how fast it grows, how it reproduces, what it eats. Does it breathe? Is there air? You don't know. Like all of this is just like, I don't know what this is. It is truly alien. It is not known to me. And it's terrifying. I love it.
Catch it, put
how
it in the
fast does it
airlock.
grow? I don't know. I've never hung out with it for more than... That's it. Usually people are telling me not to interrupt, but now no one's talking, so I guess I have the microphone, so I will say any damn thing I want.
I have known people who argued that biologically, the alien going from the chest burster to the first form after the molting, that it's unreasonable because it's had taken in no nutrition. It can't grow that fast. But I do think of a lot of insects that go through these stages, and they start very small and they kind of pull on whatever nutrition they have in their body when they're born, like an egg sac, you know, something left over, and then they kind of just sort of unfold, and the next thing you know, they're 4 times bigger than they were.
Well, and also I never saw the autopsy for Kane, so I don't know how much of his body mass was absorbed.
Yeah. That's a good point. He might have been missing some things.
But the more terrestrial analogy would be like a snake.
Snakes.
Yeah, there's some reptilian imagery there.
Oh, certainly. And carried over into the sequel as well, but...
And so Brett's no more. And Jonesy
Brett died already?
Yeah, Brett died already. And Jonesy just watched.
Well, what's Jonesy
I guess
gonna do?
Jonesy can't do anything. Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
It is.
no. Animals
But
instinctively know when something else is bigger than them and is a threat. You just freeze.
And just to take it out into cinematography, like that is one of those things that Ridley Scott was really, really good at, is getting the reaction shots from things that wouldn't get reactions, whether it be the owl from Blade Runner, whether it be the unicorn for Legend. Like there were things that Ridley Scott was really good in terms of heightening tension or implying emotion on anthropomorphizing animals. And it was very prevalent in his early career. And I think that it does a really good job to sort of highlight the terror of the death of a person or the plight of a person juxtaposed with the innocence of an animal. And I thought it really works effectively here.
Yeah, Ridley was brilliant in his early career. I would do agree, Scotty. Like, yeah. He was very masterful with that kind of thing.
It was also the atmosphere that you get when Brett enters the room and he's kind of enjoying the water a little bit. And so they decide to possibly use the temperature and change the temperature to see if it might affect the creature.
Well, and there's an interesting thing that goes on with the scanner that Ripley uses. Is I think Ash modified it because he says that it was based on a change in barometric pressure. And so you would be able to see if something was coming towards you based on the compression of air. And
give me a demo.
Well, before Ripley goes into a chamber, and I think this is before Brett died, but she goes into a chamber, and there's a door, obviously a space door, and so it's going to separate environments. and she does a thing, and there is a line where she says, air pressure my ass. Like, this is configured to find the beast, the big chap. Also, I do have to go to the bathroom.
Well, wait a minute. Then why does it find the cat?
It didn't.
It didn't
find the cat. No, because who else was in that room?
Oh,
right.
Okay. You can go now.
No, but before I go,
please.
but well, of course, I'm going to come back whether you like it or not. But no, but before we move on, with the introduction, I just want to give a big shout out to my favorite 6'10" individual in the history of everything, Balaji Bodejo, or Balaji Bodejo, BOLAD or BOLAJI BADEJO. In case I mixed up the pronunciation of the man's name, he was the gentleman, Nigerian lad who played the alien. And big shout out to that gentleman, who is one of the sort of unheralded performers. Like, look at that man. He made your nightmares come to life. And for that, I thank him. I promise to wash my hands. I'll be back in a flash.
Great. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, he's incredible. Agreed completely. Christopher Dominguez says, are you presenting the theatrical cut or the director's cut of the film? This is the theatrical cut. I decided to watch the theatrical cut. Thank you for the question, Christopher Dominguez. That's a good one. Jacob Ironside says, there are predatory insects. If they were the size of a human, that would be pretty close to a xenomorph. Ooh. Oh, man. That is a scary thought. If there was more oxygen in the atmosphere to make the insects bigger. Oh, and the Outcast Creative says, it was sad he died so young. Oh, he did? Oh, no.
Yeah, he died like 1991 or 92 when he was maybe in his early 30s, I think, or younger.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. It says he died in 92 at the age of 39 due to sickle cell anemia. That's terrible.
Isn't that a form of blood cancer or something?
It's a deformation of the blood, and but he did a fantastic job in this movie. Man, and thanks to Scotty for highlighting that, because it definitely needs a discussion.
It's always sad when somebody dies too young. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure the book something about him, but I wish I had an index. This book is amazing, but it needs to be indexed. Oh well. It's a book called The Making of Alien by J.W. Wins.
Oh, I have that. That's amazing. That's a fantastic book.
It's gorgeous. You could just flip to any page.
Writing. He was the king of writing, making of books like that. Mm-hmm. He will also be missed.
What? Him too?
Yeah, a couple years
ago. Oh my God.
Cancer.
Ugh, that sucks. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh no, my phone's going crazy. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, well, the one I'm trying to find that he also did was for the original Planet of the Apes. I found that on secondary market. I don't understand how his books are not like regularly available, because they're so in depth. You would think cinephiles that they would be flying off shelves more often, especially since he writes them on a lot of pop movies like this.
So they're going back to, they're going to use fire to against the alien. And this is Dallas's last query. with Mother, but Mother has nothing helpful to add. Unable to compute. Available data insufficient.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Gee, I wonder why.
Is it just a failure in technology, or is Mother hiding something?
It's almost kind of this scene actually, when I look back, it almost seems kind of a bit humorous in some way. It kind of makes me chuckle because it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Or is it just genuinely unable to help because it only knows how to help with things that have happened before, and this kind of thing is
Well,
unknown.
I'm guessing, Jill, it was programmed by one of the company's computer scientists, so I think it's probably towing the
Oh,
company
well,
line, so to speak.
and that's the end of Dallas. Dallas got a hug to death. I guess they still hug when they're grown up.
Not the kind of
No
hug I
blood,
need.
no Dallas. That's just a great sequence for any horror film, moving through the air ducts like that. Especially when you saw how the doors were like spiraling, kind of open, and it's still pitch black on the other side. That was so good.
Agreed.
Unless somebody has got a better idea, we'll proceed with Dallas's
plan.
So
And
Dallas's plan is to get everybody killed, I'm guessing.
What? And end up like the others? No, you're out of your mind.
And yeah, that's exactly what Lambert thinks too, baby. No, his plan was to throw it out the airlock.
Yeah. And Ash is stressing out, trying to think of what excuse he could come up with to change their minds.
It is kind of fun. Like, as grim as this movie is in a lot of scenes, there is kind of an enjoyable fun quality to some parts of it, I gotta say.
Oh yeah, I love how Parker and Brett were always going on about the bonuses that they want. It's like anytime, like one of my professors who I'm friends with online, he likes to post birthday shout outs to actors, and every time ones would come up for Yaphet Kotto or Harry Dean Stanton, I would just write in the comments, still waiting on them bonuses.
That's a good one. That's good.
vent until we have it cornered, and then we'll blow it the fuck out into space.
Seems like a reasonable plan.
Yeah.
You what? You're still collating?
Now that's the running gag through the movie, really.
It is. Ripley doesn't know yet that Ash is a robot, but she's getting upset with the science of the matter just being stuck. So you know what? I'm just gonna go check out the mother myself.
I also like how her idea that we should just blow it out into space is essentially what she ultimately does at the end of the movie.
And even that isn't good enough. So yeah, but of course, yes, dude, that is exactly what happened.
Sometimes going with your gut instinct can be the best solution, you know.
And so she finds out the company wants the alien, so the company knows about it. They want it, and Ash has been carrying out this request, even against the captain, because I don't even think the captain knew that the crew were expendable on this mission. Did he?
I don't remember.
Well, the captain would be what, Dallas?
Dallas, when he was still alive, of course.
Oh, I don't think he knew about the plan.
No, he didn't, because it's there was a special order 937, which was just for the science officer's eyes.
Right.
But okay, so we know that Ripley is able to hack Mother in order to find out that secret. So that's one clue as to what her skill level might be.
Yeah.
And
I still,
here we go.
I wish it's it's interesting though that the company just considers, them so expendable that it doesn't really give them the means to deal with an alien life form that they might encounter that's this aggressive and nasty. You'd think they'd have a little better preparation, but
Big question, though, is that how Ash appears without opening the door or anything, or he appears very silently, and that is kind of strange.
Yeah. Sinister.
Mm-hmm. And he says there's an explanation. She doesn't want to hear it. And this is where we find out he's an android. Like we've been saying it this whole live stream, but this is when it's finally revealed. And now that, Ripley knows the truth, I guess he's trying to kill her, but he uses the magazine. What?
Yeah, for suffocation. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, you think he would be strong enough as an android that he could just grab her throat and, crush her.
That's the thing. He could. They do show him tossing her around because he is so much stronger. But then he's choking her to death with the magazine.
Well, that's an issue where plot logic happens. Like, well, we need her to live, and we can't have him do the obvious thing because otherwise, there's no more hero.
Well,
or maybe he's. No, I guess it would still be quiet if he'd be relatively quiet if he choked her out. I'm not sure. Or he's trying to make it look like he could say that if there's no obvious injury to her, it's like, oh, she, collapsed or something, to make himself look innocent.
Oh, that's right. It would hide the. But do you think it's related to the way the xenomorph attacks too?
True.
Is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
And then.
You open the door?
It's a robot. Ash is a goddamn robot.
I can't imagine what the reaction must have been in the theater when that happens.
I actually am more shocked by that when I first watched this movie than the actual alien bursting through.
Right, because with Kane, that this facehugger wouldn't have just fallen off and died. Like, it obviously did something. So there's like this tension but you already know something's going to happen. Whereas with Ash,
yeah, I knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, and even when you saw the milky substance dripping down Ash's face, it wasn't really clear because it was such an extreme close up. You couldn't really tell what it was. And so once Parker just whacks his head off, it's like, oh, jeez.
Help me get this fucking thing off!
Yeah, it attacks right to the end.
How come the company sent us a goddamn robot?
And that's where everybody pieces it together.
All I can think of is they must have wanted the alien for the weapons division.
And so then Ripley sets up Ash's head to plug him in to see if he knows how to kill the alien. And tells, but Ash says, nah, you can't kill it. He reveres it.
How do we kill it, Ash? There's got to be a way of killing it. How?
Perfect organism.
And again, the practical effects here is just so good. It's so seamless.
Yes.
Jeez.
Oh, Ridley Scott stated the theatrical cut of Alien is his preferred version, and the director's cut is just an alternate version with the name director's cut for marketing. All right.
Yes, that's true.
What do you know something about these effects?
No, I'm not really sure what this. I'm sure it's somewhere in the bonus features because there's so many of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But this looks
I'm sure
like
it's in this book too.
Oh yeah, that book is amazing. I got to reread it again because it's very dense, which is great. Because for those who don't know, he writes his books such that Carrie Fisher gave a review of the one he wrote for Empire Strikes Back, and she said it was like having an acid flashback day for day through production without the side effects of acid.
Oh wow, that is high praise.
Yeah, that's just how thorough and detailed he is. with the production notes, and it's crazy. You feel like you're actually there. And he even wrote one for The Force Awakens, but then Lucasfilm was fine with it, but then Disney, nixed it. So it's somewhere in the vault, will probably never be released.
Wow.
Because
I do enjoy this image, which looks like me every Saturday morning.
You don't clean up?
No. It's not white.
The Tetrarch of Apathy says, was Mother complicit, or did Wayland Yutani worry that it could be hacked, and so Ash felt it too little or erroneous information?
Mother was complicit.
Yeah, I feel like, Mother was programmed to be complicit. Yeah.
But it feels like Mother is almost like a non-intelligent AI program at the end as well. Like when it's going along with the self-destruct thing, which would be counterintuitive to protecting the alien, and she can't undo the order. So it's like if Mother's complicit, then she wouldn't go along with that order either, because we have to
unless Mother knows where the alien is at all times and knows that the alien got onto the other ship safely, because we do see the alien looking at the cat, and we know where the alien is, even though Ripley doesn't. And thank you to Darius Munchausen for the 149 super sticker. Darius is here. Ash's orders were all other priorities rescinded. Yes, right. Crew expendable.
Well, and in regards to the self-destruct order, there are mechanical and manual circumventions that can be done. And I love, and we're not there yet. I don't even know if we're going to get there yet. But when Ripley does...
I'm running out of time.
I know, right? But when Ripley does do the self-destruct, she goes through such effort to make the self-destruct, and then is like, oh shit, in terms of, please, let's not. And then that's when Ripley has her exasperated outburst, and it's like, Mother, I turned it off.
Bitch.
Doesn't matter. You bitch.
Wes Cagle says, I cannot lie to you about your chances, but you do have my sympathies. But he doesn't say that sincerely. He's joking.
No. He even has a smirk on his face after he says it, and that's when she whacks him.
I disagree.
And then that's when Parker burns his face.
Yeah.
I think he's earnest.
Well, then why is he smirking at him after he says that?
I think that he's giving sort of a reassuring smile, because that's what humans would do.
The effects for the innards of the robot are condoms and rubber tubes, says Jacob.
Okay, yeah. But why would he suddenly be sympathetic to them when he's been trying to undermine and kill them the whole movie?
Hey, just because the crew is expendable doesn't necessarily mean that Ash wanted to expend the crew.
But he's revering and admiring a creature who is destroying
one of the greatest evolutionary models ever known for the history of mankind.
He admires it for its lack of humanity.
Yes.
And so he doesn't really like humans.
It's purity. I think that, well, and it is like beat for beat, Aliens is a remake of Alien.
So it's
Ash
we're changing. The plans have changed.
Burke.
The plans have changed. It's time to take the shuttle and blow the ship up.
Yes.
We're going to blow up the ship. We'll take our chances in the shuttle. Come back up here. I'll shut the switches off and we'll blow this fucker off into space.
So amazing to hear the desperation in those performances. It really sells.
This is where everybody starts getting frantic.
21, 20 seconds.
Well, except for Ripley. She holds it together, but Parker and Lambert are just throwing around those tubes all over the place.
I love how she has to read the instructions on the self-destruct.
The ship will detonate in T-minus 10 minutes.
I think there is a YouTube channel that has the full countdown. I've listened to it, and so it's great. If you want anxiety.
I was surprised at how quickly Parker and Lambert get taken out. That shot right there has always bugged me because you see him moving and it felt so robotic, and when it's turning like that, but that's the only time it seemed fake to me. But it's like, yeah, they got to rush the climax, so you got to kill these two characters.
Speaking of rushing, yeah, I got to rush right through the end of this movie, which is my favorite part.
Christopher Dominguez in the chat says, I heard Ian Holm was uncomfortable doing this scene, stating that he was dressed in rotting milk and pasta and having an allergic reaction to it. That would be terrible.
Ew. So it really
Ian
was
Holm,
milk.
also a vegan. No, I don't know that for sure.
Oh, no. Yeah, that would be even worse.
I love the juxtaposition also in the designs between all the alien stuff by Giger and all the stuff within the Nostromo that the late great Ron Cobb did, because it is such a sharp juxtaposition. I think that's really neat too, because he had a very unique type of design aesthetic as well. Obviously, Giger's the one who gets the more attention, and because it's obviously extremely unique and out there, and he was one of my favorite artists. But I really liked Ron Cobb too. I have his art book that got published, I think it was last year. He's also no longer with us either, but he was great.
Well, do you, like Wes Cagle in the chat said that Giger was a degenerate. I think it was Wes Cagle. I hope I'm not misrepresenting. But do you think, as a fan of Giger, do you think he was a degenerate?
Well, I haven't heard anything about that. I mean, his artwork is very unique and, it's very out there, and that's what I like about it. But I didn't hear anything of the sort of him being a degenerate person. No, nothing like that.
No, and that's not in terms of his personal life. I don't know. He may have been. I don't know. But I'm just asking in terms of his artistic representation. Do you find his art?
He did say that he had his art studio for the film was in the corner of one of the warehouses they were using to film, and they put up these arbitrary walls because other members of the crew who were super square people were just uncomfortable with the psychosexual designs that he was coming up with for the movie. And yeah, the very square conservative type people would look at these type of design, like the entrances to the, the derelict craft and the way the face art, and they would look at that and say, oh, that's, gross, or they would say that, but that doesn't mean, he wasn't degenerate. He just found it fascinating. And he, the whole foreign nature of it and the taboo subject that, people wouldn't really talk about as much explicitly back then. And he just throws it all in your face. But I never thought anything was degenerate about the art. I love his art. It's amazing.
I do too. I think it's
here. It works
terrifyingly imaginative.
Yeah.
Like a really dark Dr. Seuss.
Yeah. He's been gone for 10 years now.
Giger?
Oh,
Yeah.
Giger, really? Oh. And apparently he also liked cats too, which I don't know if it plays into this movie or not.
He did. He nobody's had a lot of cats at his property.
Nobody's nerfed.
The ship will detonate in T-minus 10 minutes. 21, 20 seconds.
We do.
T-minus 30 seconds.
We have 10 minutes. It's absolutely perfect, Jill. Also, of course, I'm sorry for pointing it out. How dare I?
Sorry, I had to step away. I've been getting some important phone calls today, guys, so I apologize.
Did you improve your long distance?
I improved my life.
Oh, good. That's good. That's good news.
Got some good news. Yes. Holy moly.
One of the best explosions in cinematic history. I think this is the best. Okay, so this one first, then Alderaan, then Praxis.
I knew Praxis was going to be in there somewhere.
I got you.
So she thinks.
And then she, drops down to her tighty whities.
Well, she thinks she's gonna go into cryo sleep, and she's gonna chill with her kitty cat.
And a meow, 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 and a meow, meow, meow. It's a cat. It's a kitty cat.
Meow. Here a meow. Everywhere a meow, meow. Okay, I'm being silly.
No, it's fine. That's what Fridays are for.
The cat is sinister. It must know that the alien is aboard the vessel. If anything knows, it's going to be the cat, but it doesn't alert Ripley.
No, but you say in jest, but someone else said, I think the cat and the xenomorph are in cahoots.
Yeah.
Well, you know what scared me? I thought the cat might have been compromised for a while.
Oh, you thought there was going to be a face hug?
Hey, there's your favorite shot in the whole movie, Scotty.
Oh, I can't see it. What is it?
Jill can go back if she wishes.
Yeah, go back one. Is it my favorite?
It should be.
Oh no, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not my favorite.
Most guys
really
in the cinema
close.
were not minding this scene, though. I'm guessing.
I like how well the alien just blends in with the piping. That's really
Yes.
great.
Oh, true.
Well, and the biomechanical nature of the alien is part of the reason why it's so terrifying, is that you wouldn't know. It happens again in Aliens.
Much like Giger's art book, Biomechanics.
Sure.
Well, it reminds me of that Emerson Lake and Palmer brain salad surgery cover. Like, that's creepy as hell too, right? It's just he really is good at drawing stuff that really is alien, like alien. Yeah.
That was the one thing that Dan O'Bannon insisted when they took the movie away from him. He got a meeting with Ridley Scott and he just slid that art book Necronomicon across the desk and really looked at it. And then he looked up at Dan, who just kind of nodded. Yep. And it was agreed that we need to get this guy.
That's awesome. Oh, damn! Another phone call.
And I missed pausing it over it, but the alien does display curiosity looking at the kitty at some point. But I think it was before the destruction of the refinery. And Ripley,
Do you want to skip ahead to killing the alien and then we can say goodbye to the chat? Because I know you have 7 minutes. 7 minutes.
I do have
until
7
complete
minutes,
thermal meltdown.
But I love this movie and I hate rushing it. Oh, I'd rather
Look on the plus side. Aliens.
I also love everything that's actually alien about it, like the space jockey. They didn't need an origin story. It's just super creepy. It's like, why is it transporting all these eggs? Or did it transport the eggs? Maybe they just came there afterwards. We don't know.
Yeah, often the unknown is more interesting than, an explanation of things, right?
Exactly.
Well, I think one of the benefits of good storytelling is sort of installing history into the stories. Whether or not it's explained is not my problem as an audience. But if you instill a sense of history in your story, I don't need to know that Boba Fett was the son of Django, whatever. I don't
all
care.
we need to know is that the alien wants to fight Ripley, but Ripley uses the gas to blow the alien out of its hiding spot, and then also opens the door to blow it out of the ship because she's strapped to the ship, so she's not going to blow out too.
So Ripley blows is what you're saying.
Yeah, and then the alien tries to crawl through the exhaust, the engine exhaust, and then
go back one.
Okay. But like you said, I have to rush through the best part of the movie.
I understand. But there is a poster of Alien that uses this image, and I'm so glad you got this image, and it is amazing.
I think it's beautiful.
I do too. Keep going. Let's rush.
And she hits the throttle to finish off the alien. So
barbecue.
Fires the engine. Yes.
Barbecued xenomorph.
Yes.
The only
Eric's. Not Eric's.
Eric's is there too.
Oh no.
Eric's protects us from the copyright claims. In terms of
No, I just thought he was getting busted apart by the jets.
Well, Eric's does have a lot of limbs, so there'd be a lot to share if he was barbecuing.
Lot to flail. He's just flailing.
No, let's not talk about Eric's being barbecued. I guess it is an alien stream, so it makes sense.
He is wearing a gold shirt, so he's not going to die.
With Eric's hurting is that he'll even when he's not happy, he always looks like he's smiling and like a dolphin.
Do you want to tell this story about when you arm wrestled Eric's?
Which arm?
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it later. We'll figure it out.
Anyway, we're at the end credits already. Wow.
There we go. We made it. We made it, guys.
What a rush. What a sprint to the finish.
Stig says Lambert is trans, actually. Her bio screen and Aliens confirms it.
True story.
Okay.
That is actually a thing that is on the biography of Lambert in Aliens. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it when it just exists. Like it doesn't do anything to the story. It's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
He says it in a passive aggressive smug.
Oh, what was that? Visual consultant Dan O'Bannon? Did I miss something?
Oh yeah, I got all the credits that I thought I liked.
Hang on, go back one.
Oh gosh.
Jones trained by? Who trains a cat? No one can train a cat.
It doesn't. Where does it say that?
It says it's okay. Go forward.
I'm not.
Or go back.
I didn't see that the first time either.
It said Jones trained by. Jill is messing with this because she loves cats.
Not seeing it so far.
No, I'm not.
Whatever. I know what I saw.
No, you're right. It is there. Jones.
There it is.
Jonesy trained by Animals Unlimited.
That doesn't sound like a responsible company.
Sometimes you do get these animal training companies, and maybe they. I don't know.
No, you can train a cat with them, but you have to use positive reinforcement where they think they're going to get food.
That's what I heard.
Generally, what they do with most animals when they're training them.
It's called clicker training.
Yeah.
I just mean that you can't use negative training with a cat. It's not possible.
Well,
yeah.
Primarily you got to feed the pussy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and that usually works. I've seen cats at a circus. They do circus tricks. So you can train a cat. You just can't train Spot.
Have you ever seen a cat do a backflip? I would love to see a cat do a backflip.
Were they jumping through hoops or walking on a tightrope, Joe?
Yes.
Wow, that's cool.
Yes.
Gee, I want to see that. Darn.
Let's go to the chat and finish this up because I know you have places to be.
I do. Oh my gosh. But I'm so glad we made it through the movie. I just wish I could spend another 2 hours here. So I could like skim through this book, which is what I bought this book for.
Is it just the first Aliens book, Joe?
Yeah, it's just the first Alien, but he did one for Aliens too.
I have the second one as well, and it's just as good.
Oh, nice.
You could always do Aliens too if you had that book, but oh well.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Like I could just flip to any page. It's pretty magical.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you next year for Aliens.
I'm jealous.
Mm-hmm. Christopher Dominguez says there were some speculation and implications on Lambert's death, claiming the alien R-worded her before killing her, which explains the corpse hanging upside down. Yeah, we don't see exactly what the alien, like all of the violence in this movie happened so fast. You don't know exactly how.
I don't remember her corpse hanging upside down.
I think of course, in later movies, we do see the second head come out, and we know that is the thing that it uses to penetrate its victims.
Well, also, like there is speculation. I'm sort of remembering this, and if I'm doing it wrong, I'm sorry. But like the stinger from the tail does sort of impregnate as well, and I always got the impression that the alien did, in fact, rape Lambert. So I thought that was a thing, and hence the bone-chilling screams that Lambert gives that Ripley hears over the comms. It's terrifying to hear Lambert die. And I thought that there was a violation involved. I'm sorry to I'm sorry that this isn't a very pleasant discussion.
Well, it's so weird.
But we are talking about a terrifying movie.
Does the alien get pleasure from this? I don't know.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just reproductive. It is propagation.
Burger414 says, is the 7 minutes because there's stuff to do or streaming limit stuff to do? I gotta go pick up my children from their learning facilities.
Jill has to go hug someone's face.
Game over, man. Game over.
Wrong movie, but I appreciate the effort.
Close enough, yeah.
I will also say I like the first one more than the second one. The second one was really good.
Yeah.
The second one is very much the same story as the first one, again, just with more people and more action. But I do
and
think
a little girl.
Movie.
And a little girl. The role of Jonesy is taken by Newt. Although I do have to go. I do have things to do myself because Jill, you'll remember I have a Nerf pulse rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gonna go paint it. I'm gonna continue with my painting expedition.
That's a great time. But can we do you have to
get
go
out
right
of here? Sure.
Okay, so that's the thing that Scotty likes to do, minutes before I close the stream. He has to always go first. So
I'll stick around. You're fine.
No, you want to go, you can go.
Well, no, the spray paint can is gonna wait. It's fine.
Okay. All right. And Franco wants you to remember to please subscribe, hit the bell, share, hit the like, select live chat.
Tell your mom.
And Pop Culture Curator says, thanks for the stream, Jill. And yeah, thank you for being here in the chat, Pop Culture Curator. And I'm sure your Texas Chainsaw Massacre stream on Tuesday is going to be great. Jill, Arm Wrestle 2? Eric's from the the Navigator from Star Trek, the animated series.
I was very intimidated.
Cats are self-trained, yes. Oh, and Terrier's here, who says, you can learn pussy tricks, but you can't train a cat. Oh. Thank you for the euphemism, says Booger. It validated something in class I taught. The alien gets no pleasure. It's very ashamed of itself.
Yes.
Don't forget to leave a comment after the stream. It helps the channel grow. You're not wrong. That is very much a factor that the algorithm cares about. Comments are good. We enjoy them. Oh, that was another thing I meant to mention earlier is we are still collating is the last thing that Ash says is like he's not just speaking for himself anymore. Booger414 says, I have heard the alien goes to therapy to work through its shame. Jill arm wrestled a purple-haired lady in a coffee shop. Yeah, that story gets more outlandish every time people add things to it. But I'll tell that story some other time. I don't have time today. Eugene Bird says, I'm going to hang out with Tony. Well, enjoy your time, Eugene, and enjoy, thank you.
Wear a condom.
Yes, Kat?
Naladoc gives you a shout out as well.
Hey, Naladoc.
Hey.
I don't think he's in the chat, though. He's driving.
Oh, okay. He's lurking. That's great. So I just
big shout out to Knots Landing. Knots Landing is the best television show in the history of ever.
So thank you for joining me today and seeing the utter carnage that just one xenomorph can do, and ultimately how Ripley uses her intelligence to survive, along with Jonesy, who uses his instincts in a similar way. It's a wonderful film and a fascinating franchise. Even if some of the sequels past the second one aren't as great, I'm glad that it inspires imagination after all this time. And I want to thank the panel for being here today. Also, Scotty R37, can you tell us what you're doing around here on the internet?
Oh, you know what? I wish I knew. I have the great pleasure of discussing and enjoying Fargo with my co-host Kat on the Phantasmagorium. I get to hang out with Ben from Cinema Gulp. Apparently, hopefully, barring no catastrophes, I'll be talking about Shin Godzilla on my friend Paul, his twin flicks. And so that's what I got going on. And then whenever I get to hang out with you, yo.
We're fucked.
No. You're fucked.
See, I like
what? Okay, I'm not quite sure how I can react to that, but okay.
You want me to play it again? I'll play it again.
Sure.
We're fucked.
No. You're fucked.
You know, as much as I don't like that movie, I like clips from it.
Well, you know,
that's why you can find them.
You know,
delightful.
The strange Scotty was the culprit that recommended we do that movie, right? If I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah, because it's one of my favorite movies.
And if I may finish, please, Scottford.
Yes, sir.
When we did the movie that day, I remember I was on the panel and I actually enjoyed that film, like in a weird, perverted kind of way. It was kind of enjoyable. Like, I'm not saying I thought it was a good film, or I'm not saying I loved it, but there were elements in it. There were enough good scenes that I had some fun watching that sucker, I gotta say. And
delicious.
Well, the clips that you guys have obviously prove that there are moments, at least in that film, that are kind of worthy of of paying attention to, right? So yeah, I actually didn't think it was that bad a film, because from what I've heard, the films following it are even worse. So
yeah, it's not really as bad of a movie as everybody says. Like, yeah, if you compare it to the first two, it's a step down, but it still is very atmospheric and has a very unique design sense.
And it was like a slow suspense, which I liked. And some of the like the warden or whatever was such a dumbass. It was like, oh man, this guy's tailor-made to to basically pay for being an idiot eventually, which he does. And yeah, it was the only thing I didn't like is what they did to Ripley. That was probably my main
I'm just grabbing some links.
Anyway,
now you're sounding like Spock. If you're gonna get nasty, I'm gonna leave.
I'm just grabbing links for people. That way I can bring them up when I bring you up. And
I did enjoy that day when we discussed
there's
Alien 3.
Twin Flicks. So check out Twin Flicks. Hopefully internet works next time and they get to talk about their movie.
Oh man, I'm so looking forward to that conversation. But yes, that's me. That's me. Get off of me.
Well, there's one more for you. Your Twitter. Check out Scotty's Twitter.
Is that what you say to the facehugger, Scotty?
That's exactly what I say to the facehugger.
Okay, so also I want to thank Kat for being here. I'm so glad you joined us because you know so many things about this movie. I'm sure we didn't even get to touch on.
Yeah, you could find the Thursday nights with Scotty on Phantasmagorium, reviewing all sorts of fun stuff. You can find me on the Virtual Cantina Network every second and fourth Sunday of the month at 8 a.m. Pacific with the Unifying Force, Star Wars Philosophy Talk Show. It's kind of fun. And you can find me at Twitter, Letterboxd, and YouTube at Slice9. And Instagram, Slice9.
The Letterboxd is probably the best bang for your buck.
Probably.
Oh, definitely. Yes. I love your written reviews, Kat.
Yeah, I need to write more of them.
And PvP, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I got a few. This was fun.
Oh man.
Did you want to say something, Scotty?
No, it was just a joke. Calm down. Tell your stuff.
No. I thought maybe you had a wise comment to imbibe with us.
No, well, just tell us about your channel. I do have to go. So
okay, my channel is Rock and Roll. I put up some playlists. I put up an album recently by one of the great punk bands of all time, The Damned. Great album, Machine Gun Etiquette. Check it out. It's pretty much classic from beginning to end. One of the classic punk albums. And they're actually touring right now. And fingers crossed, I might actually be able to get to see them soon. And I'm praying that it all works out because they are one of my favorite bands. And by the way, I just want to let you quickly know, Jill, you'd did mention you would be happy to do a birthday stream for me next month.
Oh yes, we'll talk about that later. And
Okay,
yes, so you will be able
I'm just
to
going to
see
say
the
I got it down to probably the #1 movie and maybe a couple of runners up. So I will DM you that.
Okay, great. Thank you, PvP.
You're welcome.
And Tiger Stripes is not here anymore, but if you want to contact her, she's right there on Twitter, just Kyla. And thank you, Terry, for gifting a membership. And guess what? Christopher Dominguez got the membership, and that's great news because he's right here in the chat today. He says, Alien 3 is an all right film. I prefer the assembly cut over the theatrical cut.
Same.
That's probably how I saw it.
That was the one
I like them both.
I think that was the one we watched when we discussed it, if I remember.
I think so. More Paul McGann. That's what I remember.
Heart says,
Yeah,
have
I
a
think
great
I did
day,
watch
everyone.
that.
Lemon Pie says, thanks, Kat, Scotty, Jill, PvP, and Tiger, wherever you is.
Wherever you are.
Bye, Lemon.
Yes.
So can we go? Are we done?
Yeah, everyone have a fantastic Friday. And we'll see you later.
Bye.
Scotty and Kat are reviewing season 2 of Fargo. Yes, that's right. They are. Well, I was just taking a final look at the chat here. And just have a great weekend.
Jill and I are doing the end of Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, are we?
Well, we're gonna.
Okay. This weekend or some other weekend?
No, probably this weekend. We got to rip it off like a Band-Aid.
Okay. Well, it should take like 30 minutes. We were really close.
That's what I'm thinking.
So does Larry come to a sad end?
Well, he comes.
Oh, well, spoilers. Anyway, let me grab my closing videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
No more. By the way, we gotta go.
By the way.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
What about the next episode of Star Trek?
You just got to rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
By the way. Sorry, Jill.
That's fine.
No, Lieutenant Young.
Oh,
no
I forgot these videos.
vaccine.
I didn't play my videos because
I got you, you son of a bitch. It's all right. Final report of the commercial starship Nostromo. Kane, Lambert, Parker, Brett, Ash, and Captain Dallas are dead. Cargo and ship destroyed. Come on, Cat.
take care, everyone, and much love to you all. Lemon Pie said, holy cow, I didn't know Jill is so dirty. Well, it is the 69th broadcast for Plomeek Teatime, so
I did make a joke in chat earlier about that, by the way.
Oh, I bet you did.
Oh yeah, I definitely did. It was not that dirty though.
Now we gotta go for sure. And yes, so on Tuesday I'm gonna start talking about Star Trek Continues. It's not canon. It's not, but it's better Star Trek than anything we've got past 2005. So we're gonna take a look at it.
Can't.
Apollo, all I desire is life and peace.
You expect us to...
It's actually...
Learn all that is learnable.
And the ways our differences combine to create meaning and beauty.
It has always been easier to destroy than to create.
Well, now you have something new to think about. Carry on.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the
things. Go outside, get some food. It's like, it's a time of day where you live. Go do something. Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.
See you around the galaxy.
I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time.